go to Capital One Field here in College Park, Maryland for another presentation of WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan football. I'm on screen joined by Daniel Thompson with my both halves in this one as the 6-2 Michigan Wolverines headed to the opposing layer with the Terrapins to take on the 3-5 Maryland Terps in a Big Ten matchup. Should be a fun one here today. Pretty good weather and Michigan fresh off the beatdown and riding Notre Dame. They ride in with a lot of confidence.
They sure do, and they ride in with a strong fan base. We can't see the half of the stadium below us, but if the opposite side is any indication, Michigan is the strong majority, with I think empty seat coming in second, and then Maryland fans coming in third right now. Michigan fans are excited here. It's a 50-something day here in College Park, which at least for the Michiganders here is a good deal on a November day, so they're dressed a lot, not quite as bundled up as the Marylanders.
It's 35 degrees and snowing on Halloween night in Ann Arbor, so this is a freshman trip here to us.
Sure is, but these Wolverines are definitely giving reason for all these Michigan fans to come out. Had they lost their name, I'm not sure if we would have had this dominant Michigan crowd that we do right now, but after just a truly phenomenal performance against Notre Dame, winning in every phase of the game, even special teams when they got a punt block, still ended up recovering a fumble on that same play, so hard to see what can go wrong for Michigan right now. We were kind of talking about this last night. It feels like they don't tend to frequently follow up a great performance with another great performance. Not something that's been a hallmark of this Jim Harbaugh era at the very least, so I'm not sure if you can count on Michigan to come out and blow the doors off Maryland here, especially going from the confines of the home stadium to a road game maybe. Just lose a little bit of that confidence you had playing at home, but Michigan might feel at times here. They've got a home crowd behind them. It's going to get loud. Michigan scores here.
Well, so we just had the coin toss done, and now players getting ready to take the field. Michigan wearing the all-white, Maryland wearing the red tops with the red helmets. It's a throwback uniform, right?
It sure is, and as Boomer Esiason said on the PA system here right before the game started, he believes these Maryland helmets are the most beautiful helmets in college football. I don't know exactly about that one. They are, of course, playing Michigan, which I think lays claim to one of the most iconic helmets in college football, but Boomer Esiason, former NFL MVP, is at least very excited about these script Terps helmets that Maryland's wearing here. Looks a lot like Georgia, to be honest, but they are excited about this one. Don't have the classic Maryland flag. I love the Maryland flag. It's just so distinct. Nothing quite like it. We've got Maryland flag end zones here to score into, with the black and yellow checker and then the red and white cross in the middle.
Yep. And Michigan will receive the kickoff from the Terps. Ball placed down. And now just about ready to run up and get this one underway is the kickoff man, Joseph Petrino.
Looks like just Giles Jackson back for the Wolverines. Sometimes they've got two back on that goal line, but we expect Jackson here to start things off for us. You got Ben Mason standing on the 25, ready to do some blocking. He had a big game against the Terrapins last year. 2 touchdowns and hurdled the guy.
Yes.
Perhaps even more important than scoring those touchdowns when you're a fullback is hurdling someone. Not often you get to see really anyone hurdle in football, but especially a big man. Jared Wangler also caught a touchdown in that one.
Yeah.
Big fullback day.
It was the day of the fullbacks. And now the kickoff is underway. Back deep is Giles Jackson. He'll catch it inside the 5 and run it out over there on the right sideline. Makes a nice cut at the 25 to the 30, 35-40. He's around a man. 45-50, 45-40. He is gone. And if there are no flags, this will be a touchdown. I don't see any. And it's 7-0 Michigan right off the bat.
Took 11 seconds, and I don't think I've seen a kickoff return touchdown that has been so immediately obvious that one was gone. He got to about the 25, and I saw the hole and knew he just had the kicker to beat. And with a guy like Giles Jackson, you knew he had the speed to beat Petrino. And that one was gone. That was, great job by Giles Jackson, but he made one cut on that play. That was just phenomenal downfield blocking.
Yep, and Michigan now extends the streak of kickoff return touchdowns to 2 seasons in a row after the Avery Thomas return last year against Notre Dame. And Moody now gets ready to do the extra point. He's still the extra point man. And that one is up and through. So officially 7-0 Michigan, 14:49 on the scoreboard. And a lot of talk about how Michigan's offense would sort of follow up a great game against Notre Dame. We're going to have to wait a little longer for that.
Yep, Michigan getting points on the board right away. And speaking of touchdown return kickoffs from last year, Maryland had one in this game. Now Detroit Lions kickoff specialist Ty Johnson ran the... Michigan scored a field goal to open up the scoring in that one, and then Ty Johnson ran that back, so that field goal really cost Michigan 4 points, actually. And that was really one of Maryland's only chances of scoring that day. As now Michigan's going to get to answer with a kickoff. 2 kickoffs to start the game. That's not something you get to see every day, but only about 20,000 fans here so far got to see that one. Once again, I have no idea how many people are directly below us. It's going to be at least 40% of the crowd. The capacity of the stadium, at least, is directly beneath our feet, but a pretty empty Maryland student section got to enjoy that, and then a north end of the stadium just filled with maize and blue. The occasional freckle of red.
And now the kickoff the other way from Jake Moody. This one will not be returned. It will go out the back of the end zone, and the Terps will get it on the 25.
Big freshman year for Giles Jackson. Caught a touchdown from Joe Milton a couple weeks ago, and now gets on the board with a touchdown here. There definitely should be more opportunities next year for the young man, true freshman, with likely Nico Collins and Donovan Peoples-Jones leaving for the NFL. A lot more receptions to go around for this phenomenal class of true freshman receivers as well.
Well, for Maryland, the offense is now out there for the first time today in a 7-0 hole. Not exactly how they wanted to start things out. A lot of talk about the quarterback situation for the Terps, and it appears to be Josh Jackson here on this opening possession. He drops back ready to throw it, pressure right in his face, and that throw is well behind the intended receiver, Anthony McFarland, incomplete as pressure came up the middle from Uche and Aiden Hutchinson.
And he was moving backward on that one. That's never great when your quarterback's running for his life on a screenplay. But it is a bit unfortunate. Maryland's had just a terrible history of quarterback injuries over the past few years. We saw Kasem Hill start for them last year, then had to leave the game after throwing a pick-6 that put Tyrell Pigram into the game.
Yep. And now they're going to review it about a potential fumble. And actually, no, they say no review. They're just going to mark the ball on the 19. They say it was a backwards pass out of bounds for a 6-yard loss, counting as a lateral. So Maryland now 2nd down and 16 from the 19-yard line. Jackson in the shotgun, running back to his right, and he'll pitch it to him off to the side. That is Anthony McFarland. He'll run around the edge, but pick up about 3 yards before Aiden Hutchinson slams him down at the 22. It'll set up 3rd down and 13 upcoming for the Terps.
And hey, that's their best play of the game so far. They started off with allowing a kickoff return touchdown, then, well, I guess they fair caught a ball, then they had a 6-yard loss on 1st and 10. I thought about that right as it happened. I almost brought it up saying that might be a backward pass, but the thing was that Jackson had to backpedal so far to even get that pass off. I assumed he was behind, or where he threw it from was behind where the ball went out of bounds, but I guess they were just confident enough it was a backward pass. They didn't even bother reviewing. I'm surprised no resistance from Locksley there.
Yeah, well, there's no, I mean, this was a topic of conversation during the week in regards to Maryland, is that the tackles really have struggled in pass protection. You have to think Jackson's going to be under fire all game, and obviously that's a contributing reason to all the injuries they've had at the quarterback position. 3rd down and 12 officially. Jackson drops back. Pressure starts to come. Gonna get hit. Gonna go down. A 3-man gang sack there between Kwity Paye, Aiden Hutchinson, and Josh Uche, and that will be a 3-and-out for the Terps.
And they're just not going to have a passing game if things are going to go that way. You can't throw down the field.
Yeah.
All your passes are going to have to be behind the line of scrimmage if you can't block for more than half a second.
Yeah, and that was only, I believe, a 4-man rush from my perspective. Did not look like any kind of blitz at all, and it got home within a second. And so out to punt for Maryland It appears to be Colton Spangler. Have to see. They've had 2 punters who punted a lot this season. Michigan doesn't really come after him. Peoples-Jones will catch it, moving to his right at about the 47-yard line, cut outside towards the right-hand sideline, and he'll go out of bounds at about the Maryland 43. So excellent field position for the Michigan offense with 13-16 to go in the first quarter. Wolverines already up 7-0.
Yep, and Jones just took what they gave him. There was a bit of a lane to get maybe 7 or 8 yards along the left end. He took it. And I was hoping there for a second there might be a chance Michigan might not have to play any offense in the first 10 minutes of this game. It'd be just fun to see a result where a team's up 14-0 without touching the ball offensively. But Jones didn't have too great a blocking. Peoples-Jones didn't have too great a blocking ahead of him, so he took the safe route. Now we got 13-16 still to go in this first quarter in the first Michigan snap on the Maryland side of the field.
Yep, Patterson starts in the shotgun. He'll just hand it off to Hassan Haskins, who runs up the middle behind his center, Cesar Ruiz. And we'll go down at the 35-yard line. That's a pickup of 6. We'll set up 2nd down and 4.
And it is remarkable how Hassan Haskins has taken over this running back 1 job at Michigan. It entered the year, we thought there was going to be a three running back competition between Wilson, Haskins, or not Haskins, but Wilson, Charbonnet, and Turner. And now Haskins is RB1. He beats out all 3 guys who are the presumed running back by committee group.
They have Donovan Peoples-Jones going in a lot of motion, instead handed off to Haskins. He'll pick up maybe 2 down to the 33. That'll set up 3rd down and 2 from that yard line. Michigan will need the 31 on 3rd and short, and on comes Ben Mason to the field.
Well, there we go. He had a huge game last week, and he's already had a big game this year too, because he did phenomenal blocking there for Giles Jackson.
Yep.
That ball was returned right along the right edge, which is where he was guarding. So give him credit on that kickoff return touchdown. We'll see if he can do anything here on 3rd and short.
So Patterson lines up in the pistol with Haskins behind him, but he's also got Mason to his right. 2 wide receivers on the left side of the field. They'll have Haskins with Mason as the lead blocker, and that's a 1st down pickup right on the left side, running behind the guard, Ben Bredesen, and down to the 29-yard line. That's a pickup of 4 and a 1st down.
And Michigan just loves this matchup here between the tackles. Maryland has really undersized linebackers and defensive tackles, and Michigan might have 4 NFL guards on this roster already between John Runyon, likely moving to guard in the NFL. But right down the middle, 2 guys will probably be day 2 draft picks in the NFL, Ben Bredesen and Michael Wainu this year in 2020. They're just running it right behind them. Nothing outside the tackles, nothing fancy. Old school and just going at the heart of this Maryland defensive front, which is just undersized. No 300-pounders on that defensive line. Michigan taking advantage of that with big Michael Wainu weighing 370 running behind him.
And on that play, looked like Brandon Gattis a little shaken up. Is that 59?
I think that,
yeah, Kieran Howard instead.
Yep, has 1 sack on the year, the redshirt senior out of Fort Washington, Maryland.
So out of the injury break, 1st down and 10, Michigan from the Maryland 29, already up 7-0, just under 12 minutes to go in the first quarter. Patterson drops back, ready to pass. He's going to fire on a slant route, got it complete. Nico Collins down to the 15-yard line. That's a chunk pickup of 14 yards, and 1st down and 10, Wolverines in the red zone.
And it's going to be a good day for Josh Gattis, dueling with his former boss right now, Mike Locksley, the 2 Alabama coordinators from last year. He's going to have a lot more fun just because of the talent differential between these 2 coaches.
Yep. So then Michigan starting to go with a little tempo up to the line, ready to hike it with 25 on the play clock. It's a pistol formation. Haskins in the backfield does a nice cut up the middle. He's at the 11. He'll roll through a tackler down to the 10. That's a solid pickup of 5. There were 3 men in the backfield. Did a great little jump cut, then ran to the right side of the line of scrimmage, and then plunged forward into the arms of a tackler for a solid chunk pickup on 1st down.
Yeah, great awareness there from Haskins. Moving left and cuts right. McEwen did a great job picking up that one man. He got right into the backfield. Mike St. Ristel got in on that play, getting subbed in for Nick Eubanks now.
2nd down and 5 from the 10-yard line. Patterson in the shotgun. Has a man coming across the formation. That's Peoples-Jones. He's going to throw a jump ball for Nico Collins in the end zone, a little too high. Off the right hand of Collins and incomplete. That'll set up 3rd down and 5 from the 10-yard line.
Nico Collins to try to go up and get that thing with one hand, just even too tall for Nico Collins' frame. Patterson has to play that one just a little bit better because Nico Collins is going to have the height edge on every single DB he faces this year. Just put that one a little bit lower, and that's a touchdown for sure for Shea Patterson.
So 3rd down and 5. They do have St. Ristel out on the field, as well as Ronnie Bell, Donovan Peoples-Jones, and Sean McCune. Those are the receivers. Charbonnet on the field for the first time to Patterson's left as he lines up in the shotgun, already under 10 on the play clock. They got to get this one going. Patterson claps his hands, takes the snap from the center Ruiz. Going to throw on a crossing route right at the 5-yard line. That looks like it's going to be a first down right at the 5. We'll see if they motion for a first down. No, they say it is going to be 4th and inches, and Michigan already hurrying up there as the ball placed down on the 5.5-yard line. They need a half-yard 4th down. Patterson looks ready for a sneak. He's going to sneak it, and he'll get the first down.
And that was easy right there. That big interior line just getting a huge push, and Patterson follows. Easy first down when he could have had that first down earlier with Peoples-Jones. I'm surprised he didn't take a look at it. Peoples-Jones was standing at least a yard ahead of the line to gain, but that ball was just a bit in front of him. He had to come back to get it, and that cost him the first down initially. Nonetheless, though, Harbaugh makes the right call, doesn't even hesitate, goes for it on 4th down there. Now Michigan is 4.5 yards away from a touchdown.
Yep, Michigan 1st and goal from the 4. A big line of scrimmage with Charbonnet to Patterson's left. Patterson's going to try and run it himself. He goes towards the goal line, gets hit hard, and he will be dropped at the 1. Pickup of 3, 2nd and goal from the 1-yard line upcoming.
Yep, one of the few just direct QB keepers here from the Michigan offense. It's almost always an option or something, or just a quarterback dive on very short yardage situations. Not many times this year have they gone just directly to Patterson. I believe one of the final plays of that Penn State game, though, was a Patterson keeper as well. Looked pretty similar to that one.
Patterson under center. We'll see if they try and sneak it again. Mason in the I formation with Charbonnet as the lone setback. They'll give it to him. Tries to cut right in. A great tackle in the backfield. Bringing him down there was Keandre Jones, outside linebacker, cutting around the backside to bring down Charbonnet for a loss of 1. It will now be 3rd and goal from the 2. 9:10 remaining in the first quarter. Michigan already up 7-0, trying to make it 14-0 here on this drive.
And Jones, already from the Maryland area, is a transfer, played for Ohio State for a couple of years. So he's got something Maryland desperately needs on this team, and that's experience beating Michigan.
Yep. Out of the pistol formation, Charbonnet just a few inches behind Patterson, hugging him closely. Now Patterson will go out wide. It's a wildcat to Charbonnet. He's going to go up the middle into the end zone. Touchdown, Michigan. 8:42 to go in the first quarter, and the Wolverines already up by 2 touchdowns.
And congrats to Charbonnet. You could see on the sideline, immediately once that play ended, Will Hart and Jake Moody already took the field. They've been walking toward it since before that play was even over. It was so clear that Charbonnet was going to get in there, followed his lead blockers. Congrats to Charbonnet. He is racking up the touchdown rush numbers on the season, but you or I could have scored that one. There was a wide enough hole for just about anyone to get in there.
It's already 10 touchdowns for the true freshman running back out of Camarillo, California. 13-0 officially, PAT pending. Moody out there for his 2nd of the game, and he fits it right through. So not even the halfway point of the first quarter. It's Michigan 14, Maryland 0. Total yards, Michigan 40, Maryland -10. Youch.
And Maryland's getting killed on special teams, too. That is a really nasty combo.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to upset a team, you can't give up a kickoff return touchdown on the first play. I mean, that.
No. And right now they are, Michigan's well on pace to just embarrass what Penn State did to Maryland here a month ago on a Friday night. 59-0, the Nittany Lions won Michigan. We're not even halfway through the first, and they're up 14-0. That's on pace to break 100.
Well, the interesting thing about this Maryland team is that they were ranked at one point in the season. They beat Syracuse in week 2 after just
a ranked Syracuse team.
A ranked Syracuse at the time, and that was after they had just annihilated Howard. Now, obviously, Howard is not an FBS team, but the extent to the damage in that game, the final score was 79-0, was pretty awe-inspiring. And then the fact that Maryland took on a ranked Syracuse team, they hung 63 on the Orange and won by over 40 points. People started to think this Maryland team was going to be something special, but then it really just got derailed. The very next week, they went into Philadelphia to take on Temple, and they lost 20-17 in that game, and that really just sort of set the momentum train back. And then the very next game they played after a bye week was a Friday night game. Everyone was fired up here in College Park, ready for that game, and Penn State just slaughtered the Terps 59-0 in that game. And at that point, it was pretty clear what Maryland actually was. They've won one game since then against Rutgers.
And perhaps that was part of their problem, was the fact that Syracuse is overrated, beating Syracuse, slaughtering them, got them into the top 25, and that's just their Achilles heel. They've lost 6 consecutive games as a ranked team.
Yeah.
They do this thing where they get ranked, lose a game, then fall back out. And it's kind of just a thing Maryland does every year now. They have a "Is Maryland good" game. The past 2 years it was Texas beating them both in Austin and College Park. The Texas team that ended up winning the Sugar Bowl, blowing out Georgia. Georgia team that we'll find out today what they're really made of, and for the past few years have been a mirage. But just it's remarkable how they early in the year they get you. They get you believing, and they've won one big game of Big Ten play since, and that was a Rutgers game. So.
Yeah, that's where Maryland is, 3-5 on the year. Michigan trying to make them 3-6, and with Ohio State looming next week, does not look great for Maryland's bowl prospects right now. They finish up the year with Nebraska at home, followed by at Michigan State in East Lansing. Michigan to do the kickoff now as we're out of this commercial timeout. Jake Moody ready to boot it away. He puts it down on the right hash in the 35-yard line. Will step back to the 25 and pace over to the center and then run up and boot it away. Michigan already up 14-0, 8:42 to go in the first quarter. This one a high arcing kick, and it will go about 8 yards back into the end zone for an easy touchback. Michigan not playing around today. 2 kickoffs, 2 touchbacks that went out the back of the end zone. So Maryland will get it on their own 25. They racked up negative 10 yards on their first series in a 3-and-out their first time around, and Michigan's defense looked great on that series, didn't have to do a lot. They were getting pressure on a 4-man rush with consistency on both passing plays that Maryland called. And now Michigan is being tacked with an offsides on the kickoff, so Maryland is going to get the ball on the 30 instead. The referee's pretty late to announce that penalty. Both teams were already on the field, and then they moved the ball up. Did not see that offsides happen. Josh Jackson in the shotgun for Maryland. He's got McFarland to his right, and they move the tight end, Mabry, across. And he'll take the snap, and actually it's Leak, who has a nice little hole up the middle and gets tackled at the 36-yard line. Looked like between the center and the guard there. And he'll pick up 6 yards down to the 36, 2nd down and 4 upcoming.
And Leak is a pretty quick guy. You might remember that name from last year where he scored a touchdown against Michigan.
Yep. On
a jet sweep play on the goal line. They like to use his speed when they can. Right now, though, he's going to get a lot more shares at the typical running back position due to that loss of Ty Johnson. So he and Anthony McFarland should both get a decent number of carries, especially if Maryland cannot get anything going in the passing game.
Jackson in the shotgun. They go out of the shotgun pretty much every play, and now it looks like a false start on Jalen Duncan, the left tackle. Michigan was shuffling along the line, but no one jumped across, so I would have to think this is going to be a false start. I mean, Maryland's already moving backwards. Referees converged for a second, and they do officially call a false start.
Well, and what a way to waste your best offensive play of the game. Start off with 2nd and 4. You're ahead of the sticks for once. That's their first successful play. And then they immediately go backward with the false start. Now 2nd and 9. It's like you gained 1 yard instead.
Well, and that's the issue, is that, you know, they have not shown the ability to pass protect, so you can't get behind the sticks if you can't protect your quarterback, and now they're in a 2nd and 9 situation. They'll run it again, give it off to Leak. He runs left side. He'll fall forward close to the first down, but he will be just a little short. Maryland using that speed from Leak to test the edges right now, and he had a nice run there, gets 8 of it back. They'll set up 3rd and short.
And he has by far been their best player. The question for Maryland is, what do you do now once Michigan adjusts to this? Can you find any offense outside of Leak?
Yep.
Or are you going to have to rely on him getting 8 yards per carry?
So Jackson comes out, ready to take the shotgun snap. Got Leak to his right. You have to think they're going to keep it on the ground, move a wide receiver in motion, and they do hand it off to him. No, they're going to throw to the right side. That was a great fake, and running down the sideline with room out past the 40 and out of bounds there is the backup tight end, Okonkwo. That is a nice pickup, and they used the deception element of this offense.
Yep, very effective there. You and I both were fooled, and that was able to get a good edge for Okonkwo to follow. He had a little bit of a gap on his man, and all the Michigan defenders were following the running back Leak rather than Okonkwo, and that turns into a handsome gain on a pivotal 3rd and 1. Maryland crosses midfield, and they look more alive than Notre Dame's offense did, at least in the first half last week.
Well, it's also not pouring right now,
yeah.
So Chigoziem Okonkwo there with that catch, and now it looks like it's going to be an offsides on Michigan, as it seemed like Dwumfor jumped across the line. Some pre-snap penalties here on this drive.
And now suddenly you have Maryland looking a lot better in this one. If they score a touchdown, it's a 14-7 game. They're in this one. They're eating clock and keeping Michigan's offense off the field.
Yeah, and that's important.
It'd be a hard sell to make me think that Maryland can make this a competitive game by the fourth quarter, but stay in it and you never know what could happen.
6:37 to go in the first quarter. Michigan 14, Maryland 0. Jackson ready to take the snap, and he'll hand it off to McFarland. His leak again, and he'll go up the middle to close to the 30. That was on 1st and 5, so he picks up 4. It'll set up 2nd and 1. This is where you could potentially take a shot down the field towards Dante Demas on a 2nd and short.
Absolutely. It's going to be really tough to run the ball once they get in the red zone. I think Maryland should be looking to score right here on a 2nd and 1. That's the best time to call a shot to the end zone, because if you don't get it, I mean, whatever. You got 2 more chances to go for it.
Right.
And just gain 1 yard. So Maryland does have 3 receivers wide. That might be what they're thinking.
They move Mabry, the tight end, from the right side to the left. Jackson ready to take the snap, and they'll just hand it off to Leak. He cuts towards the right side. It's another nice run brought down by Metellus at the 26-yard line, but that's a 5-yard pickup and a Maryland first down.
So congrats to Maryland on the first down, but you got to wonder, are they going to be able to run the ball down the heart of the Michigan defense here once they get close to the goal line? That'll be remain to be seen, but so far Maryland eating clock, halting that Michigan offense, and they're in scoring position.
Well, again, they continue to test the sides of the Michigan defense right now, and you can see when they hand it off to Leak, he just takes off like a shot out of a cannon type run. Always energized and ready to run. So first down and 10 from the 26-yard line. Jackson gives it to Leak again, and he will take it inside the 25. They'll mark him at about the 24. It'll be 2nd and 8, under 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Michigan 14, Maryland 0. Quiddy Pay on the tackle right there.
Michigan finally with a successful play on first down, holding Maryland to only medium yardage. We'll see if they can turn that into a stop here now.
2nd down and 7. McFarland takes it this time. No, it's going to be a Jackson keeper. Again, great deception from the Maryland offense. Jackson dives out of bounds at about the 17-yard line. That'll be a 6-yard pickup and will be close to a first down. They'll give him 3rd down and 1 from the 17.
And Mike Locksley showing some good decision-making. After the second Leak run, I asked, will they be able to find a way to keep things fresh on offense, knowing they don't really have a passing game? And so far they've done it, doing different runs, establishing that run game, and being able to call play action once on this drive and really get Michigan.
And now another run upcoming, and this one will be close to the first down sticks. We'll see if they got it. I don't think they did. We'll see where it's marked.
This will come down to the spot for sure.
Yep, it is going to be short. 4th down upcoming.
And there's not a doubt here you go for this. If you kick a field goal, you're not playing to win this game.
Yeah.
You're playing to save face if you bring out the kicking unit. Not to mention, Maryland does not have a particularly inspiring kicking unit so far this year.
Yeah, 4th down and 1. Yeah, Joseph Petrino, the kicker for Maryland, just 1 for 3 on field goals this season. Pretty incredible that they've only attempted 3 as a team. Jackson's got McFarland to his right. 6 men at the line and offset tight end. Michigan ready to go after him. They hand it off to McFarland, and he will pick up the first down, fall just past the 16-yard line to about the 15.5. That'll be another Terp first down, under 3:30 to go in the first quarter.
We saw Metellus line up on that edge, unblocked, and Maryland was fine with that. They knew which way that play was going, and the running back was able to cut downfield just before Metellus got to him, able to pick up the first down. And once again, just good calls here. Maryland only having to attempt 1 pass on this drive, and we're seeing just how much better it's going than when they have to come out of the gates throwing.
Yeah. Well, and very interesting who was in on that play for Michigan. Chris Hinton was on the defensive line.
Really?
He just ran off the field. So first down and 10, Maryland from the 15-yard line. Another handoff, this one to McFarland. He'll have a little bit of space off the right side, but immediately wrapped up after about 3 yards. McGrone and Kalik Hudson chased him to that sideline, and again, the sideline-to-sideline speed is terrific.
Absolutely, and this is the part of the field now where it's really going to be tough to run. This is why red zone offense is so important, because it really is a whole different ball game.
Yep.
Just because a team can move the ball from the 20s does not mean they'll have any success once they cross them, and right now, I'm not sure what Maryland's going to do because this running game is going to give here.
Yep, 2nd down and 7 from the 12-yard line. Jackson has not attempted a pass since that play-action completion that got them past midfield. It's been all runs since then. He fakes a potential pitch. Now he's in some trouble and throws it away. I'm not sure if that was a throwaway or if it was just a very bad pass, but Michigan was starting to get towards his face, and he just kind of hurled it in the direction of Anthony McFarland, who was off to the side but was decently well covered. And now, 3rd down and 7. Pretty hard to run it here unless you're playing explicitly to try and gain, 3 on one play and 4 on another.
And I wouldn't hate that at all here.
No, not with the way the running game has worked pretty well on this drive. But they set up with 4 wide receivers. They don't have a lot of faith in their wide receivers. They use their tight ends as well. Tough to tell which one is which right now, but McFarland is the lone running back next to Jackson. Jackson takes the snap, and pressure starts to come immediately. This one popped up in the air, and it's going to be intercepted. Cam McGrone takes it away at the 9-yard line. Jackson pulled the trigger as he had a man barreling into his chest, and that one popped up into the air. McGrone plays center fielder and comes down with the football.
And it's just not going to get easier than that for the Michigan offense. You force Maryland to throw the ball once, and they have no hope.
Yeah.
The only way they're going to effectively pass the ball is if they are in a blatant running situation and call up a play action. The only way that they're going to get any success throwing the ball today. And Michigan, it's just so easy for Michigan. We've seen 4 Maryland passing attempts, 3 of which have been blown up immediately by the defensive line.
Yeah.
And the only one where it works, where anything works at all for Maryland passing, is when they can call the play action. You saw right there also Michigan put 3 men on the line. I believe they had Dan lined up at nose tackle, face mask to face mask across from the center, 2 linemen to his right, and then Uche standing up on the left boundary of the offensive line. Looked like they're trying to just overwhelm that right side of the line, use their inexperience and their lack of size to just overpower them. It was very effective there. And Josh Jackson was hit before you could even describe anything else going on in that play.
Yeah, guys were really bearing in on him. Jackson now for the game, 1 for 3, 22 yards and 1 interception. With that takeaway, Michigan will get the ball on their own 9-yard line, exactly 2 minutes even remaining in the first quarter. And we have the turnover of possession, commercial timeout. Overall, that was a pretty good drive for the Terps. They got 48 yards. Or now they're up to 48 yards. They were at -10 previously, so it was a 58-yard drive, but obviously not getting points when you're already down 14 and your defense hasn't shown much is a huge blow to your prospects of coming back in this game.
No, completely. And credit to them, they were able to pull out a 6.5-minute drive, eat up some clock, but now they're just that much further away from winning, still completely empty-handed. And not to congratulate myself too much here, but they got into the red zone, the run game got more difficult, and they had nothing, not a prayer of moving the ball, end up turning it over. If you're not going to move it, at least protect the ball. Couldn't even do that.
Well, Maryland showed off some of their better assets on that drive in that they have a lot of speedy players sort of in the remains of the Matt Canada offense, guys who really test those edges. Obviously, they have the first play will be a handoff to Hassan Haskins. He picks up about 3 yards up to the 13-yard line. Michigan pretty vanilla on offense so far, except for the Wildcat to get the touchdown there on 3rd and goal the preceding drive. They officially give 4 yards to Haskins on that run. He'll set up 2nd down and 6, clock at about 90 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Michigan 14, Maryland 0. Patterson stands to the right of Hassan Haskins, brings a man in motion. He'll do a play action, roll out to the right, going to fire down the field, looking in the vicinity of Tariq Black, but well out of his reach and incomplete. That'll bring up 3rd down and 6.
and Patterson was just a bit too quick to try to get the window. He had Black open. It wasn't going to be for too much longer, but ultimately he's on the run there. He should have taken time. He had his time to maybe set his feet, find someone else across the field, hurried that one a bit too much, and gave a nearly uncatchable ball to Tariq Black.
And so now 3rd down and 6. This is an opportunity for the Maryland defense to get off the field and force a 3-and-out. Still could get decent field position if they can get this stop. Michigan only on their own 13-yard line after the red zone interception. Patterson claps, takes the snap, drops back, ready to throw. All day, throws, and that's going to lose yardage. Just dumped it off into the flat for Hassan Haskins, who was easily tackled right away, and that'll bring up 4th down.
And another poor decision there from Patterson. Not only did he have all day, he was going to keep having that. I think one of the Maryland defensive linemen was lying flat on his back after getting pancake blocked. It didn't look like there was any threat of Maryland drumming up the pressure. He could have waited and found something better than just throwing it behind the sticks. Ultimately, though, I don't think that's going to cost him. Not a bad day for some growing pains for Shea Patterson.
Yep, 50 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Will Hart out there to punt. His massive leg, 45.6 yards per punt this season, a long of 61. He takes the snap and gets ready to boom this one. High and arcing. This one is going to push him back to around the 35-yard line. Nice immediate cut, but then a great tackle pursuing well down the field. The Michigan gunner could not see the number. We'll see when he gets up. And that is Daxton Hill.
Yeah, a bit hard to get that number right away because 5 teammates were all patting him on the back, giving him hugs, congratulating him on the great effort. Nearly let McFarland get away from him, but a great shoestring tackle brings him down and keeps Maryland on their own half of the field.
Yep, and so that goes down as about a 50-yard net punt.
And at least Locksley can sleep tonight knowing that red zone drive was not for nothing.
Yeah.
They might not have gotten any points, but they flipped field, got the stop, and with 26 seconds in the first quarter, will get the ball at their own 37. With that field position, I don't know if that'll actually make a difference because field position was not the issue on the last drive. They moved effortlessly down the field until they got into that 15-yard line. But gives them a chance at least. They're close to the end zone. This is not a game where you can kick field goals, and that's probably why Maryland has only kicked 3 on the year. They're either up so early, they either are beating teams so badly they're never kicking. No need to kick field goals when you're winning 70-0.
Yeah.
Or they're down so big they got to be going for the touchdown every single drive. They played Rutgers and they played Indiana in a tight game, right? They blew out Rutgers, but Indiana was respectable at least, I believe. So that one might have been where all 3 of their field goal attempts came from, for all I know.
Yeah, Temple and Indiana are the only one-score games they played. 79-0 over Howard, 63-20 over Syracuse, 2017 over Temple, 59-0 against Penn State, 48-7 against Rutgers, 40-14 to Purdue, 52-10 to Minnesota. So the only 2 remotely close games were Purdue and Temple. Now both teams in their huddles as we await the coming out of the timeout. We expect probably only one play, and then we'll hit the end of the first quarter break.
Especially because I'd bet you $5 right now, Drain, this is going to be a run play. Don't think there's any chance of an incompletion here.
That's what you would think. Maryland so far has run 12 rushing plays to 3 passing, although one of those is a sack on Jackson, so officially 11 rushes to 4 passing plays. But definitely they're going to try to stick with what's worked. Rushing-wise, Maryland is at 12 carries for 26 yards, but again, you have sacks factored in there. Just 1 completion thus far for the Maryland offense, that to Okonkwo, a 22-yard catch. And they've used the threat of play action and just various deception pretty well. And that's the idea, the credible running threat of Josh Jackson.
And does it? So I think they only officially have 3 passing attempts, right? Because the one fumble on the first play from scrimmage of the game,
correct,
doesn't even go down as a passing attempt.
Yeah.
So at least they're 1 for 3 rather than 1 for 4. But their offense probably has negative yards from the passing game because of all the sacks and the fumble.
Yeah. Or it's probably break even because of that 22-yard catch. So anyway, out of the timeout, Jackson ready to go. Got a running back to his side, tight end offset in the formation, and it will just be to leak. There's that rushing play we predicted, and a great job to just burrow his way like a groundhog through the line of scrimmage there. It looked like he was going to get maybe 1 yard, and then somehow he just scuttered out of the pile forward for 5 yards. And with 10 seconds remaining in the first quarter, that'll be it. The Maryland Terps already headed to the sideline to enjoy their timeout. We're going to get the old commercial set up here as we hit the end of the first quarter. Michigan 14, Maryland 0 here from Capital One Field in College Park.
Rest assured, though, that will never happen on WCBN. Student radio, commercial-free. Not going to give you the commercial combo, but impressive play right there from Javon Leak. Trying to think of a terrible analogy for that, but kind of just lets his back be his shell maybe and gets low. All the Michigan defenders standing up, trying to just clutter things up, gets down. Great play right there as we have on the big screen here. Not really a Jumbotron, I don't think you can call it, but the big screen here, I think they're having Maryland players list as many presidents as possible.
Yeah.
Is that the score? So
I believe that is what is going on.
We got 18 right there from the player just on the board. Last name was Jordan, couldn't catch the first.
Yeah, Johnny Jordan, that's the center.
Okay, yep. So good for him. 18. I'm guessing 1 minute, right, was probably the game. 18 presidents in 1 minute, not too bad.
Scores around college football. Wake Forest up 21-0 on NC State as the Demon Deacons continue their prowl to the Orange Bowl.
Yep, they're talking. Someone, if Clemson makes the playoff, someone from the ACC has to make that Orange Bowl. It can't be Notre Dame. That's the rules for the Orange Bowl. They're allowed to, it could be Notre Dame playing an ACC team, but for right now, Wake Forest, they're in the driver's seat. They could go 9-3 and make that thing.
Houston 17-7 over UCF in the early stages of that game. Eastern Michigan 7-2 lead on Buffalo, a very odd college football score there. Central Michigan 21-3 over NIU. Talk about the season that Jim McElwain has had for the CMU Chips. They were an atrocious team, I believe 2-10 last season. They're now at 5-3 on the season and leading this game, looking like they're going to get to bowl eligibility. Speaking of bowl eligibility, if Eastern Michigan can hang on to that one over Buffalo, obviously very early, they have Akron next week, and Akron might be college football's worst team. So the Eagles could get to a bowl game if they can win that one.
They lost to UMass, which is a unique pairing of the bottom two SP Plus teams.
Played each other.
It's called Game of the Century when number 1 and number 2 play. I don't know what you call it when the bottom two SP Plus teams play, but that's what we had there between Akron and UMass.
Nebraska 10-0 over Purdue. 2:05 to go in the first quarter in that one. Syracuse and Boston College tied at 10. Boston College 4-4. They're well on their way to another 7-6 Steve Adazio season.
Someone has to win the ACC Coastal, right? That's the one that's not. Yeah, Clemson and Florida State are in the Atlantic. That's the one that matters every year.
Well, Wake Forest could still win that division.
Yeah, they could.
If they stick with just one loss.
They've only played 3 conference. They're going to get a win here in their 4th conference game, but they've only played 3 conference games to Clemson's 6. So a lot could still happen in that division.
Liberty up 14-7 on UMass late in the first quarter in that one, and Old Dominion 7-3 over FIU. Back to the action as we break the commercial timeout. Maryland, as we left it, 2nd down and 5 from their own 42-yard line. They need the 47. Jackson takes the snap and will keep it himself, throw into the flat, got it complete right around the 44 and brought down at the 45. Cam McGrone, a nice tackle there to bring down the Maryland receiver out of the backfield that looked like Tayon Fleet Davis. Trying to see the number. It's either 8 or 9. Actually, it is number 9, so that is Okonkwo. That'll bring up 3rd down and 1 from the Maryland 46. They were able to get a 1st down the last time they were in a 3rd and short situation on their preceding drive. Backs to the right and left of Jackson, and Leak will get it. He'll run off the right side and a hard hit right at the 49-yard line, but enough for a 1st down anyway before he got thumped. Looked like Metellus delivered that crushing blow. But regardless, Maryland moves the chains, and they got the ball at exactly midfield. 1st down and 10 Terps. They continue to bleed the clock. 14 minutes to go in the second quarter.
And congrats to Okonkwo. He still has 100% of Maryland's receiving yards.
Well, Maryland's a team that really doesn't have a lot of successful receivers. Part of it is they can't get them the ball, but Dante Demas and Okonkwo are really the only 2 guys that have significant receiving stats this year. Jackson, 1st down and 10, will throw it out into the flat, got it complete. That looks like Okonkwo again, and dragged down at the 46-yard line, trying to see the number. Yeah, that was Demas, actually.
And right there, you had Lavert Hill playing 1 yard off the line of scrimmage, if even that. He was lined up right across Demas, and then they had the tight end come in and block him. That Michigan kind of sniffed that one out right away, but nonetheless, it was an okay executed play, results in 3 yards.
Well, at least it keeps the defense honest that you can pass it in some capacity.
Yeah. Still, I don't think they've completed anything beyond the line of scrimmage. They haven't even attempted a pass beyond the line of scrimmage. They get sacked or hit anytime they try to throw it that deep. But
I mean, the interception was trying to get past
True,
the line of scrimmage before Jackson got thumped. 2nd down and 7. He takes the snap. This one will be to McFarland, and there's just nothing there. He is able to burrow his way forward into the body of Carlo Kemp to the 44. That'll bring up 3rd down and 4. This could be 4-down territory for Maryland.
It may very well be, and the thing is, when you go for it if they let's say they get 1 yard here, they go for it from the 43. If you don't pick it up, that's fine because Michigan's going to move the ball beyond the 43 anyway when you give them the ball back.
Yeah.
There's effectively no risk in going for it in my mind.
4 wide with McFarland to Jackson's right. Jackson ready to take the snap. Standing on his own 49 now. He'll step up a few paces to say something to the center, Johnny Jordan. And now back ready to receive the snap. Michigan showing blitz, and they are not going to bring it. They run the option play, and Jackson's able to get forward for a 1st down to the 39-yard line.
And good job there, Jackson selling it, staring down McFarland, forces Uche to play McFarland to try to limit the big gain, and that lets Jackson dive forward for the 1st down. Don't even have to worry about it. Maryland not having to make another tough decision and go for a 4th down yet. We just crossed the 12-minute mark here in the 2nd quarter, and Maryland has done a good job running the ball, keeping Michigan's offense off the field and limiting the damage. Only down 14 here in the 2nd quarter after a simply horrendous start to this game.
Yep, under 12 minutes to go now in the 1st half. Maryland is bleeding the clock, and it's interesting. They came into this game as a team that doesn't string together a lot of great drives. They have some explosiveness, though, but it's been all chunks so far, and McFarland takes the 1st down carry to the 35-yard line. That's a solid 4 yards. That's kind of been the pattern so far for Maryland. They're able to pick up just modest gains. Leak is at 4.9 yards per carry. McFarland now just over 3 with that carry. Able to get just solid chunks, nothing terribly more than that, though. And Jackson looks over to the sideline. They're taking quite a while off the clock, not super slow, but also not tempo whatsoever right now. McFarland's been on the field pretty much this whole drive. We've seen 1 leak carry, but otherwise it's been him to Jackson's side, and that's where he is right now on the right side. They've got a tight end as well. Jackson drops back, ready to pass. Pressure starts to come, fires down the middle. Got it complete at the 12-yard line. A nice throw down the middle and in the area of Metellus, Hawkins, and Glasgow, but a great strike down the field to Brian Cobbs for a 1st down.
And that's how Maryland gets a passing game. They pick up the blitz just a little bit on that play, and then they throw into you might be able to call triple coverage, but no one was really on the receiver. Not really sure what any of those 3 guys downfield were doing, but none were close enough to really force anything going on that one to make it difficult for Maryland. Now this is the best field position they've had all game. They are at the 11-yard line on the doorstep of the end zone. I think the 12 is as far as they got last drive.
And so Maryland now comes out in the pistol formation. Leak finally back onto the field. 3 wide receivers, and Jackson's going to have to take a timeout. Play clock was already at 1. And with 10:19 to go in the 2nd quarter, Josh Jackson takes that timeout. And Maryland trying to get their way back into this game, trailing 14-0 right now to the Wolverines.
You know, and why not appreciate the moment? You just completed your longest pass of the game by a wide margin. I think 24 yards there for Brian Cobbs. Just accept it maybe, I guess, for Maryland. Take the time out, enjoy it. Reminds me of the classic story of Lee Corso being up 7-0 on Ohio State, taking a timeout and asking the refs if they can just call the game, take a picture, forfeit, and let everyone know that they were up 7-0 when they decided they didn't feel like playing anymore. Maryland, though, they're not out of this one. They need to keep fighting.
Well, they're already at 100 total yards in this game, and this is obviously the number 2 defense in the country in Michigan in S&P Plus, and just off of a dominant performance against the top 25 team in Notre Dame. Maryland's been able to find some success right now.
And it's just been forever, these 2.5 drives that we've been focused on here. It was 8:26. Michigan was already up 14-0. Then Maryland goes on that super long drive, all for nothing, throwing an interception on 3rd down here. In response, Michigan goes 3 and out, and Maryland goes on just another clock-eating drive. Got the ball back with 26 seconds to go in the 1st quarter. We're down to 10:19 here in the second, so this one's going to go at least 6 minutes probably. Fresh set of downs. They're doing a good job keeping Michigan off the field. That field position is going to come in crucial here. We'll see if they can actually punch it in for once, but their passing game has been a little bit more productive. Good job, Maryland. You know, they saw what their initial game plan wasn't working. They figured things out to a degree here.
And that's kind of where we are right now in this game, is that Maryland has just been able to choke the life out of this game.
Yeah.
And the fast pace that it was moving. I mean, again, Michigan got up in just a hurry, but then since then things have slowed down a little bit in terms of the pace Michigan was on. The game, however, has been moving pretty quickly in that the clock's just been continuously rolling. Maryland hasn't really thrown it much. They've only had 2 incompletions, so the clock hasn't had a ton of stoppages before this timeout.
No, yeah, we're going to be able to get out of here somewhat quickly, maybe catch the full cocktail party, Florida, Georgia. But no, they're in Maryland. They're not beating around the bush here. They're trying to score here, keep this game competitive, and keep Michigan off the field.
So Josh Jackson comes out in the shotgun, and it'll be 1st down and 10 Maryland from the Michigan 11-yard line, fresh off that nice 24-yard completion to Brian Cobbs down the field. The offense having some newfound success. And Jackson claps once. Now he finally gets the snap. Leak will take the carry, has a decent hole, and picks up probably 3 yards on that rush. And Josh Uche and Kwity Paye on the tackle.
That's their first snap back in the red zone since that horrendous interception. They didn't really have a running game in the red zone before. About 3 yards was the most they could muster. Will they? You can keep getting 3 yards a clip. If that's going to work for you, keep doing it. But the goal line's going to get closer and closer, and those gaps will get tighter and tighter. We'll see what Maryland can do here.
2nd down and 7. This is where their drive previously had stalled. Jackson will hand it off to Leak. No, he'll keep it himself, run outside, but he's got no space there. Met immediately by Josh Metellus, who throws him out of bounds. And some of the fans over on that side were wanting a late hit out of bounds call. Just a very fierce play from the Michigan senior safety, and that is a loss of 3 yards. Everything they gained on 2nd and 7 they just gave back, and now they're in 3rd and 10 from the 11-yard line. This is where Michigan wants them, passing down situation. We'll see if Don Brown comes with a blitz.
And great patience by Kwity Paye. Everyone knows he's so good against the run, but he and Metellus really team up right there. Don't get over aggressive and just trust each other to keep, maintain those gaps and give Jackson nowhere to go. Crucial 3-yard loss on 2nd and 7. Passing down again for the Terrapins.
Jackson in the shotgun with Leak to his left. He's got him running out in the backfield. Pressure starts to come. Gonna get hit. Gonna go down. Sacked by Josh Uche, as well as Dana Paye and Hutchinson. The whole line crumbled. Jackson had a little bit of time, no one open, and he takes the sack. That'll set up now a 37-yard field goal attempt as he was dropped at the 20-yard line, a loss of 10 on that sack. And now out comes the kicker, Joseph Petrino. He is a sophomore from Richmond Hill, Georgia, 1 for 3 on the season on field goals. His one make was from 30 to 39, 0 for 1 on 20 to 29, and 0 for 1 on 40 to 49. But this is a 37-yarder. That's in his range of his one make this year. He comes out ready to kick this one. It looks pretty good, and no, it is wide. Tough to tell from our angle, but a miss there, and Maryland still scoreless.
So Michigan, 2 great red zone stands, and they end up driving Maryland backward and still have not conceded any points because, well, this is a game that really shows you yardage is a better way to measure the result of a game than points usually, but not in this one. Maryland outgaining, I believe, Michigan 92 to 44 right now. They got to 100, but then they went 8 yards backward.
Yeah.
So end up moving themselves out of field goal range. That one missed, but it was close. Couldn't it looked good for me for where I am, but this is a terrible angle to look at it. So I trust it was close, though. It definitely seemed like a tough call. So Maryland, at least, I think that 8-yard sack really made the difference on that one. And that, with the way this game's going, I think it's fair to call that a coverage sack. Michigan blanketed everyone for about 1 second. That's all that this D-line needs to get by and put Jackson on his back.
Well, now this is for a Michigan offense that had a 3-and-out previously on their last drive. This is an opportunity for them to drive down the field, score a touchdown, and put the game on ice more or less right now.
Yeah, if they had that one clunker of a drive, Patterson unable to connect with Black and then dumps it off to Haskins after a short run on 1st and 10. Goes nowhere. But their other drive was flawless. 1st and 10 from like the 42. They had about 0 yards on the second drive. The first drive was almost 100% of the yardage.
Yep.
But this game's a 14-0 blowout, despite the fact that Maryland is more than doubling Michigan in yardage, because Maryland has negative offense in the red zone.
Yeah.
And Michigan runs off the opening kickoff, and they only needed one drive because of field position, a very short drive to score a touchdown earlier. So yardage isn't everything, folks. Michigan is just dominating in this one. And even though Maryland has moved the ball well between the 20s, they just have nothing doing when they get to the red zone, and they might not score any points this game if this is going to keep happening every single red zone trip.
I couldn't help but notice one of the play cards they were holding up during that last offensive possession. The back side of it, which is the side we can see from where we are, had the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse logo on the back side of the play card facing our direction. So I don't know what the Ruth's Chris play is.
You'd have to think a run between the tackles. I don't think that could be anything else, but.
And the area behind the end zone has started to fill in decently well after being very sparse to begin with. The Michigan contingent heavy on the sort of left side, curling down towards the end where Michigan will be driving towards on this possession, and that whole sideline is, at least 65% maize and blue, and even in the upper decks as well.
Certainly, as that very upper deck is filling up. Fans still pouring in here, 58 minutes after kickoff.
So here we go. From the 20-yard line, Michigan starts with a 14-0 lead, 8:21 to go in the second quarter. Patterson, play action with Charbonnet, is going to throw over the middle, a little behind Eubanks, off his hands, and incomplete.
And that's just sort of a C- play by both the quarterback and the intended target there. A little bit behind him, and Eubanks definitely could have held on to that one, but ultimately both not quite good enough to get the completion as Christian Turner enters the field for the Wolverines.
Yeah, got Eubanks right on the hands, just unable to hold on as Patterson's throw was behind the intended receiver. Christian Turner on the field for the first time today. The redshirt freshman running back will take it around the edge, and he'll be dropped for a loss of 5 yards. A phenomenal play there in the backfield by the Maryland safety, Antoine Brooks Jr. He is the best player on the Terps defense. A loss of 5, and now 3rd down and 15 for Michigan.
And they've got a couple of transfers from A-plus blue blood programs. Shaq Smith and Keandre Jones, they're outside linebackers from Clemson and Ohio State. But none are as explosive as Antoine Brooks Jr.
Yep. And it seemed like a pretty dubious decision by Turner to cut outside there. It seemed like he had a better lane between the tackles, tried to be cute and outrun the speed of Brooks from behind him, and that one did not work. 3rd down and 15. Patterson's got time to throw. He'll dump it off in the flat to Haskins. Stays on his feet well, but he'll go down at the Big Ten logo at the 25-yard line. He gets 10 back, but that'll be a second straight 3 and out for the Michigan offense.
Well, then what are we learning here in this game? Establish the run. That is what football is about.
Yeah.
Michigan comes out running very strong on their first series. Maryland couldn't run at all in their first one. Then Maryland gets going, but then they have no passing game to go to once they get to the red zone. But Michigan, they don't establish the run the first 2 drives, get behind, the two most recent drives, they get behind the sticks, they're in passing downs, and Maryland has been able to answer.
So those are 2 good defensive stands from the Terrapins. And Will Hart out to do his second punt of the game. First one was a 50-yarder and another high booming kick, and a signal for a fair catch. It will be caught at precisely the 27-yard line by DJ Turner, and that's where Maryland will get it. So again, Michigan able to flip the field pretty well off of these takeaways in the red zone. Well, 1 missed field goal, obviously, and we'll have another commercial timeout. This game really slowed down the last about 5-10 minutes.
And Christian Turner just made, terrible decision, as you mentioned, to cut outside there. Antoine Brooks Jr. is really the one Maryland player that you really don't want to test along the edges. And that backfires horribly. When you get your one carry to reestablish yourself in this offense, you cannot afford to do something like that and lose 6 yards. That is going to put him back in the doghouse after he just finally got out of it. And, classic announcer's jinx there. I said this game is on pace for Michigan to break 100, not expecting anything to come of that, but now it's come to a screeching halt. And if this Maryland drive is anyone like the last one, Michigan might not get the ball back this time.
With only 6:45 to go in the half.
So maybe Penn State is going to hold the record for best margin of victory here in Capital One Field at Maryland Stadium. winning 59-0. Michigan well on pace to break that. Then they have 2 bad drives, go 3 and out, and Maryland just chews up clock 6 to 7 minutes at a time when they have the ball.
Well, that's why for Michigan, getting run stuffs on first down and put Maryland in those passing downs that they just cannot afford to be in. And that has to be the priority for the Michigan defense. Maryland will get the ball to start the second half, so if they could have a long drive score and then get the ball to start the second half, they could try and claw their way back into this game. Michigan has had opportunities to really put this one away these last 2 drives, and have had 3 and outs both times.
We'll see if Maryland really... They did open up the passing play a little bit in that one. Had a good downfield completion. If they can get Michigan to bite here on a play, that's what I like out of first down here. Michigan knows what they got to expect. They know how to stop this offense. If Maryland can come out of here, play action, catch Michigan overreacting to what they've been doing before, they could get a drive going here. They will get the second half kickoff. It's easy to forget that because they had the first drive of the game thanks to Giles Jackson's touchdown return. Go 6-minute 45 touchdown drive here. Get the ball back, and Michigan might not see the ball again until it's a tie game. You could get back into it this way.
Jackson ready to go out on the field. Referee gives the signal out of the commercial timeout. 14-0 Michigan on top. 6:45 to go in the second quarter. Jackson takes the snap, and he'll just do a pitch to the outside to McFarland, and he's hit right away and brought down. An absolutely phenomenal play there on the edge by the safety. Josh Metellus coming down the sideline and dropping McFarland for a loss of 2, and that's exactly what we were talking about. A run stuff for Michigan to then put Maryland behind the sticks. Officially a loss of 3. It'll set up second down and 13 from the 23-yard line.
And Metellus has had a phenomenal game. Has an interception to show for it. And even on plays that don't end up on the stat sheet, he's been setting the edge very well, containing any hope for an outside run for Maryland. He's just been all over the place.
Terps already have 10 on the play clock as they have to get up to the line right away. Jackson claps for the snap, and he'll take it, hand it off, running to the left side of the formation, and just nothing there for Anthony McFarland. Coming up behind him was Hudson and Glasgow. It picks up maybe 1 back on that play, but not much happening. And they'll set up 3rd and 11 from the 25, 5:47 to go in the first half. And Michigan now trying to force a 3 and out and get the ball back.
And it's funny for Maryland. You talk usually in football, there's standard downs and passing downs. For Maryland, it's rushing downs and passing downs.
Yep.
If they don't have to throw, they won't.
So 3rd down and 11. Maryland has not had much success through the air on passing situations today. Jackson 3 of 5 for 50 yards, but he's taken a couple sacks already, and he'll just swing it out into the flat. They're trying to get an explosive play from McFarland, and he goes close towards it. Michigan hits him hard out of bounds. No flag, though, and he'll be short of the first down sticks.
Yep, Brad Hawkins levels McFarland there as he was getting forced out of bounds. Hit him, though, inbounds, and we'll see if Maryland...
Yeah, it would be 4th and 3 from, like, the 33-yard line. It'd be awfully hard to go for it here.
The offensive line, they waited for a minute, seeing what was going to go on, but all the skilled position players had left the field. Finally, though, the offensive line leaves the field, and Michigan will be returning a punt. Peoples-Jones, first time opportunity to return a punt since like the 13-minute mark in this one.
So Anthony Pecorella, the punter, is out there. He was the one who actually did the first one, not Spangler. The inconvenient part of the punting competition they have is their numbers are 99 and 98. He gets this one away. Peoples-Jones backs up. He's going to try to shake a first man, and he does. Now tries to cut it back at the 20, and he runs around a lot for absolutely no gain on that one. Be dropped at the 18-yard line after banging in to friendly fire there. Looked like
Jared Davis, I believe, got pushed back into him.
Yeah. So 4:29 to go in the second quarter. Michigan 14, Maryland 0. It's been that score for a while. And now the Michigan offense heading back out there. And again, if they can drive down here, get a touchdown, go up 21-0 at halftime, that feels like it would be the game right there.
Absolutely. Maryland will get the ball back to start the next half, so you don't want to turn it over, do anything that could let Maryland back into this one.
And Michigan does have all 3 timeouts. Maryland has 2 as we get ready to go here. No commercial break, thankfully. After a really slow down in play, Charbonnet takes the carry, running left. He's behind the nice blockers of Bredesen and Nwenu, but nothing really happening there. And coming up for another very fine play, continually the Maryland defense tracking down these Michigan running backs from behind. Looked like a Yendi Eli right there, and Antoine Brooks on the tackle.
And Eli is able to get off the block from Ronnie Bell. And Michigan doesn't really set that edge the way they hoped to. Brought 2 guards pulling.
They'll give him 2 on the play. 2nd down and 8 from the 20-yard line. Ball in the left hash. Patterson in the shotgun. Charbonnet to his right. 2 wide receivers, and he brings the man in motion. That's Giles Jackson. Instead, it's a Charbonnet carry, and he runs the exact same position right off that left side behind Bredesen, but just nothing there. That's no gain on the play. 3rd down and 8 from the 20 upcoming. Michigan's going to have to show that they can throw the ball productively down the field as Maryland tries to force a 3rd straight 3-and-out, still in a 2-touchdown hole. With 3:33 to go in the 2nd quarter, Michigan trying to keep this drive alive, and they put Eric All, the freshman tight end, onto the field. He lines up in the slot position. Nico Collins and Peoples-Jones out wide. Ronnie Bell in the other slot. 4 wide receivers and Charbonnet to Patterson's right. Maryland shows 5 guys potentially rushing. We'll see if they bring the pressure. It's only a 4-man rush. Patterson's got time, throws. That one is a duck and short. Caught by Tariq Black as he dives right close to the sticks. He'll come up a yard short. Now this is an interesting decision for Jim Harbaugh.
And I'm a super aggressive guy in regards to this. I love it when coaches go for it. I think you should almost always go for it. But you don't go for it here with 3 minutes to go in the half and put Maryland back in the game. Their offense is not developed enough to be able to run a 3-minute drill. You talk about the 2-minute drill. I mean, a 5-minute drill is asking a lot for them to go from the 25 to the end zone.
4th down and 1 from the 27-yard line. So 3 straight 3-and-outs forced by the Terps defense, and Will Hart out there, and it's going to be a fake! A direct snap, and rushing up the middle, getting that 1st down and a whole lot more down to the 41-yard line. Trying to see who the direct snap was to. Looked like Michael Barrett took the direct snap, and Michigan will get the ball on their own 41. That is a 14-yard pickup on a fake punt. And you can just see the push at the line of scrimmage. Michigan's special teams offensive line just bulldozed Maryland's defensive line. And so Michigan gets the 1st down and 10. Clock now ticking to 2:15, though. They're going to have to start hurrying it up as Patterson comes out in the pistol formation. 2 wide receivers stacked on top of each other. That's Collins and Peoples-Jones on the right side of the field. Play action to Charbonnet. Patterson's got plenty of time to throw. He's got Collins down the field. Can he hit him? It is
up to the refs.
Yeah, there's 2 guys on it, and it looks like it is caught at the 8-yard line by Nico Collins.
Well, there you go.
They waited a long time to give us a signal on that one.
Well, and it was in Hail Mary territory where both guys came up with their hands around the ball. Of course, the infamous play where that kind of got the NFL replacement umps fired.
Yep.
When they screwed up that Packers-Seahawks game, but made the right call there. Tie goes to the offense. Collins and a defensive back both holding on to that one. And that's like, what, a 50-yard gain?
Yep. Michigan now 1st down and goal from the 8-yard line off that one. Patterson in the shotgun. Play action to Charbonnet. He's going to throw it. Oh, boy. Not close to Nico Collins there. Collins running a slant was not open, and the throw was 3 yards behind him. 2nd down and goal from the 8. 1:32 to go in the 2nd quarter.
Patterson was definitely expecting something else from Nico Collins on that one. Not even in the same zip code was that ball. But a lot just happened in those past 2 plays. I was going to scold Jim Harbaugh, even though it worked. Didn't agree with the call, but I didn't know he was going to do something like that and go downfield to fire to Nico Collins. I'm always for going for it if you're going to throw to Nico Collins on the next play.
And so Charbonnet will take the inside draw, cuts around. He's going to walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Michigan. A nice block off the right side. Looked like Jalen Mayfield might have had tight end help as well. As Charbonnet stays patient, bounces it outside. That's his 2nd rushing touchdown of the game, 11th of the season, and it's 20-0 Michigan PAT pending.
And I believe ESPN reported that he had already set the true freshman record for touchdowns in the season. Did Charbonnet on his 1st touchdown of the game with 10, extends his record to 11 right there. And that's just a classic Charbonnet run where he meets the guy right at the line of scrimmage, gets through him, and once he had that hole, it was over.
So 1:28 to go in the 2nd quarter. Out for the extra point is Jake Moody, and he puts it through. So our score, Michigan 21, Maryland nothing. And boy, what a swing in momentum. What looked like another 3-and-out for the Wolverine offense. Instead, a fake punt extends the drive, a deep bomb to Nico Collins, and 2 plays later, Charbonnet walks in. A 3-touchdown advantage for Michigan, and it feels like danger time now for Maryland.
What a 4 plays that was. So you have Michael Barrett, the fake punt specialist. That wasn't really much of a fake. That was just a direct snap to Barrett.
And that's the easiest fake punt you're ever going to get when your offensive line just demolishes the defensive line like that.
And it was interesting because they brought McCurry in motion. I think everyone in the stadium, when they saw McCurry come in motion right behind the center, everyone thought, oh, this might be a fake.
Yeah.
But because they threw a fake punt versus Army, and people forget, that fake punt won them the game.
Yeah.
That huge 25-yard pickup was their longest play of the game offensively, and that set up a touchdown drive in a game that ultimately went to overtime. So that Michael Barrett had saved the season earlier. This one was not a season saver, but nonetheless, impressive pickup right there when he just kind of had a man in front of him. Didn't have to do a whole lot there. Just keep following the backside of a blocker until he got tackled for about 20 yards. But really creative play right there. I think the earlier passing fake punt and McCurry in motion kind of got the Maryland defensive line to hesitate, not get too aggressive to see what was going to unfold. And ultimately, they should have been aggressive as Michigan just came out and flattened them on the line of scrimmage.
We've got some Terp-themed banners being unfurled in the student section. I'm not sure what they're saying.
Something RHA that looks like a soccer ball. No, that's a turtle shell. Look, thought it was going to be something for the soccer team. I think Maryland has a pretty good program if I remember correctly, but yeah, that's a turtle shell. RHA, not sure what that exactly is. Go Terps. SGA's 100th year. Don't know what Maryland SGA is, but I'm going to guess the S is for student.
Well, 1:28 to go in the first half. Michigan 21, Maryland 0. And this has been a pretty quick first half of football. 1:13 Eastern time, the current time. And again, it's a pretty nice day for this game after a lot of the other colder days in Michigan recently. And we pull up the temperature.
So SGA is Student Government Association.
Got it.
Could have guessed that one maybe, but yeah, not exactly sure what all those were. We got some dance music going on here as Maryland trying to drum up some of the crowd. Although if I'm Maryland, on the big screen here, I don't put up any signs about getting loud or anything. Don't give the Michigan fans here an idea because they are the majority.
Yeah, 50 degrees here in College Park. Today, 44% humidity, basically no wind, 1 mile an hour. Feels like 50 degrees.
Yeah, so if you're a Michigander, then oh, awesome, 50 degrees in November. And if you're a Marylander, not the best weather for a football game. Maybe part of the reason why there's a good number of empty seats here.
So the kickoff will be done by Jake Moody. He's put his preceding 2 into the end zones for touchbacks. We'll see if he's intent on doing that yet again. This is the first time he's kicked off to that end after his preceding 2 being in the first quarter. High and arcing, though, this one will land at about the 1 yard line, and intent to run it out is Maryland, and that one shakes a couple tacklers, but brought down at the 18, Javon Leak. Looked like he could have been stopped at maybe the 15, but that's why you drop those on the goal line. Get much better field position for a defense if they don't fair catch it most times.
I'm of the opinion no punts or kickoffs should ever be returned. Of course, Giles Jackson maybe making me look stupid today with his touchdown return, but most of the time, if you return it, something bad happens. If it's a kickoff, you don't get back to the 25, or there's a block in the back or a holding. Same thing with punts, frequently muffed as well.
So 1:23 to go in the first half. Jackson takes the snap, does give it to McFarland, and he bounces off some tacklers and will be marked forward progress down at about the 23-yard line. It'll be interesting to see if Michigan takes any timeouts here to try and get the ball back. They do have all 3 timeouts, not doing it right here. Does Locksley play with pace? It looks like he's going to. They're up, ready to snap it with 30 on the play clock. Yep, hurry up offense, under 1 minute to go in the first half. Jackson claps it and gives it off to McFarland, running to the right side. He's in space with Hawkins, but a nice tackle there from Brad Hawkins. Bring him down to 29. Picks up 6 yards. It'll be a first down for Maryland. Clock stops to reset the chains. Terps do have 2 timeouts, 50 seconds to go. Clock starts running immediately after the ball is placed down. Jackson ready to take the snap with 45 ticks remaining. He drops back, ready to throw. Pressure starts to come, and that one is caught, I think. No, they say it hit the ground. Lavert Hill wearing him like a cheap suit there on the sideline. And the ball officially marked incomplete. Looked like Darrell Jones' intended receiver. Or actually, Carlos Carrier. Second down and 10 at the 29, and now with the clock stopping because of the incompletion, 38 seconds remaining.
And there's probably little enough time now that Maryland can afford to throw, but when they started with 1:45 on the clock, throwing was a big risk, because that most likely was going to put the ball back in Michigan's hand with time.
Jackson takes the snap, drops back, ready to pass. Pressure comes right off the edge. Uche is there. They're going to get him for a holding, and Jackson just hurls that one away as he gets hit hard by Dana. That could be intentional grounding.
And that should be, because that's the most severe penalty in football, because you lose the 10 yards and the down.
Yeah, now the 4 referees are going to come together and question whether that was intentional grounding or not, as Jackson was under fire and just kind of flung it outwards. Either way, there's going to be a hold on Uche, who came in on a rush from the left side. They do announce the holding, and that's all that they're going to give. So they'll make it 2nd and 20.
And that could have been big for Michigan. I don't know if they would try a 30-second drive if they get the ball back, but the loss of down would be huge with 31 on the clock here. And that should have been a pass interference. There was no one in that area.
Yeah. 2nd down and 20 instead from the 19-yard line. 31 seconds remaining in the first half. And now you have to think that Maryland's just going to be content to run this clock out. Well behind the sticks. Jackson really wants the snap, and now that's going to be a false start.
Oh, my goodness.
That'll go on the right tackle, Marcus Minor, and that'll back him up 5 more. It'll be 2nd and 25 from the 14.
Minor, a DeMatha Catholic product, and that's a name you might recognize. They send a lot of talent to the University of Michigan, and currently Michigan in a big recruiting battle with Duke in basketball for Hunter Dickinson, a DeMatha product as well. So we were talking about this before the game. If Maryland could just lock down most of the DeMatha recruits, they'd be a lot better of a program.
31 seconds remaining in the first half. 2nd and 25 for the Terps. And, it is just going to be – or no, they're going to throw it off to the side. And the bubble screen picks up 5 or 6 yards, staying in bounds, and immediately whistling for a clock stoppage. Did Michigan take a timeout there?
They do have 3 left.
Michigan did take a timeout. 23 seconds remaining in the second quarter. And that'll set up 3rd down and 21. So – Michigan, they can get a stop, take your other timeout, get the ball back, maybe 15 seconds remaining in the half, 1 throw down and try a Nordine 50-plus yard field goal. That would be the math to me.
Yeah, we saw Nordine warming up. There is, as you mentioned in the weather report, almost no wind here.
Yeah.
We saw Nordine make a 50-yarder with about a yard to spare. Why not? You got Quinn Nordine. He's losing the recruiting battle to Moody. Give a chance to test him out, maybe. Why not? You're playing to win the game. Michigan is probably looking at a 3-loss season. So if you want to, try to jockey for one of those last New Year's Six Bowl positions, maybe just really show how dominant of a team that you've become and aren't what you were to start the year.
Maryland lines up with 4 wide receivers and Anthony McFarland to the left side of Jackson, and he'll throw, and that one is tipped up in the air, and Aiden Hutchinson couldn't find it. Almost an interception as it drops harmlessly to the ground, batted down, and so 19 seconds remaining in the first half. Maryland will punt it away, and Michigan now will get an opportunity to let Donovan Peoples-Jones go to work as they send out the punter, Pecorella.
And at least once a game, you get an Aiden Hutchinson tip drill. He's 6'6", when he gets his meaty claws up there, that ball is going up in the air. That could have flipped the Penn State game. Brad Hawkins nearly came down with a Aiden Hutchinson tip drill. If he had caught that on Penn State's side of the field in the first half, that could be a totally different game.
4th down and 21, and the snap out to Pecorella, and a false start on the Terps.
Yeah, that burned some clock, though, for
1
him.
second came off.
And then, no, they put it back on.
Yeah, they have to put it back on because it's a dead ball foul.
Yep, I don't know what else. Yeah, of course, it's before the play.
Yeah, pre-snap penalty.
Yeah. Maryland.
So back them up 5 more, 4th and 26 from the 13. This has just been a pathetic drive for Maryland, riddled with penalties, 2 false starts on the drive, and Peoples-Jones stands at the left hash from his own 50-yard line, or really midfield. Pecorella stands in his own end zone, about 2 yards in the end zone. A really low snap. Michigan tries to come after it. They made contact with him, but I think that was the blocker. Peoples-Jones will catch it at the Maryland 49, go out of bounds at maybe the 47. 12 seconds on the clock. Michigan does have 2 timeouts remaining. So one about 15-yard pass, and you are potentially in field goal range for Quinn Nordine. At least give him a shot.
And if I'm Jim Harbaugh, I order up a Joe Milton bomb to the end zone here. Just test out the young man's arm. Well, yeah, this is a beautiful part of a football game where you got 12 seconds before the half, not really a competitive game. You can afford to get experimental here. This is the laboratory of football. I think right now, figure out what works, but Michigan going with a much more bland package, it looks like right now.
Well, they have True Wilson to Patterson's right. That's obviously a pass protection type thing you would think, as Wilson, the best pass protecting running back on the team, his first snap all game. Patterson looks over to his two wide receivers on the right side, takes the snap, drops back, ready to throw. He's going to fire down the field. He's got Sean McEwen open, caught it, and he's going to go out of bounds at the 20-yard line. 6 seconds remaining in the first half, and they can potentially just right away line up for a 37-yarder and try to make it 24-0 before the half.
He might have been into the end zone if he could tightrope that ball right there. One of the best-looking passing plays Michigan's ran all year. That was a great throw from Patterson. Maybe not directly where McEwen could just keep running full steam, but it'd be hard to ask for a better placed ball than that. I'm disappointed in Michigan. Why not try to run a 5-second play to the end zone? Just everyone go route, well, just a speed, bullet pass, go route to the end zone. Try to find Peoples-Jones or Collins here for a touchdown.
Well, that pickup was about a 30-yard passing play, and it burned off 6 seconds exactly. You're at officially the 19-yard line, so you'd be cutting it close if you threw it to the end zone.
But if you don't get a field goal in this game, who cares?
Michigan opting to take the points.
Yeah, it looks like Jake Moody's going to kick this one. I don't know. That's a boring call from Jim Harbaugh there.
Well, we've talked a lot about how Michigan has struggled in 2-minute drill situations this year. I mean, this at least was some semblance of a 2-minute drill, more like a 20-second drill, but
yeah,
all the same. Moody out there, Will Hart, the holder at the 27-yard line. This will be a 37-yard attempt. Snap out, hold is good. The kick is up. Looks pretty good from our angle, but it's going to be wide to the right. And that will, not end the first half. There's 1 second still on the clock. It will be 21-0 Michigan headed into the halftime, but Maryland has to do one kneel down to officially get us there. Let's take a look at the angle. Yeah, it was a good-looking kick, but just pushed it a little bit to the right.
Well, and maybe Jim Harbaugh does gain some valuable information out of this half.
That's fair.
They find that Jake Moody has missed a couple from inside the 40 now. He might not be the reliable answer. Quinn Nordino, the big knock on him is he can hit anything that you could ask from a college kicker, but he can also send 25-yarders below the crossbar from time to time.
Yeah, and Maryland will come out ready to just kneel it down. Jackson under center in victory formation, but in this case really losers formation, as they will trot into the locker room. Michigan 21, Maryland 0. And a pretty sharp half for the Wolverines. They hold Maryland to 114 yards in that first half. Obviously, 2 big red zone stands to keep it scoreless.
And we got out of there in under 90 minutes. I don't know exactly when kickoff was. It's seldom exactly on noon.
It was a little past noon.
So that's about an 80-minute half we just experienced. And I could go for that. These ranked versus unranked college football games, when they can be uneventful at times, I'm not going to complain when you can come out here, have a really quick half, get people going. It's not a great slate in college football. You're not missing too much by tuning into this one. But
well, and the band for Maryland about to take the field. It'll be about a 20-minute halftime show, and we will be back in about 15 minutes' time for the second half. Welcome back to the second half of action here from Capital One Field at Maryland Stadium. Our score, Michigan 21, the Terps nothing. Wolverines pitching a shutout thus far on defense, and they got off to a hot start in this game. They ran back the opening kickoff of the game, did Giles Jackson, 97 yards for a touchdown. Michigan then got a 3-and-out of Maryland, drove down from great field position, able to put a touchdown on the board. And it seemed like it was cruising towards just an annihilation at that point, but the Maryland defense able to hold their ground, and they forced 2 consecutive 3-and-outs. The Maryland offense drove into the red zone on 2 occasions. One ended in a Josh Metellus interception. The other one took a couple sacks that moved them backwards, and then Joseph Petrino missed a field goal, so Michigan remained up 14-0. Wolverines had been 3-and-outed for a third straight time, but then they faked a punt on a 4th-and-1 situation. Then a deep bomb to Nico Collins, and 2 plays later, Zach Charbonnet ran it in for a touchdown. That made it 21-0 Michigan. Wolverines did miss a 37-yard field goal there at the tail end of the first half, and so they lead just 21-0. Maryland will get the ball to start the second half.
Yeah, we didn't learn a whole lot about this Michigan offense in that half because they weren't on the field too long at all. Didn't run many plays, that's for sure, but we did maybe see Michigan has some serious concerns in the kicking game. Jake Moody and Quinn Nordine have both been very inconsistent from within 40. They've done well on their extra points, but move them much further beyond that, and they have been shaky. And that could be a big issue, with some bigger games coming up. They've got Michigan State, then at Indiana, who might be a 9-win team this year, and then Ohio State at the end of the year. They got to iron that out. They'll probably win this one. Don't think it'll hurt them, but that's one thing to improve on. Michigan had 2 clunkers of a drive, but every time they get a first down, they go out and score a touchdown, 2 for 4 on their 2 non-12-second drill drives. So good game all around. Giles Jackson with the nice return. And we'll see what we have in store in the second half. Maybe see some backup quarterback action as well. See what Milton or McCaffrey have to offer.
So 21-0 Michigan on top over Maryland. 15 minutes placed up on the scoreboard here in the start of the third quarter in the second half. Opening kickoff. Jake Moody ready to boot it away. Placed down on the right hash mark, and he, as always, trots back 10 yards exactly, stands at the 25, then paces into the middle. Michigan did get tacked with an offsides on their second kickoff. The first 2 went for touchbacks. This one will do so. So 3 for 4 on touchbacks today is Jake Moody as the kickoff man. And Josh Jackson heads out for the Maryland offense. 5 of 9 for 63 yards. Pretty solid through the air. That one interception, though, and that's been the concern. When he's actually had time to throw through either, play fakes or a clean pocket, which has been rare, he's been okay. But the issue has been pass protection dreadful, leading to several sacks and that lone interception.
It sure has been, and Maryland, if they have any choice in it, they're going to choose to run. We'll see if they can do anything to establish the passing game at all in this half.
They start with 3 wide receivers and the tight end Mabry off the right side. Play action. Jackson's going to try to throw, and that one almost interception. Oh, boy. And Vincent Gray jumped the route as that one was intended on the sideline there and just closed off well. Great coverage. They looked like they were looking for Rashad Lewis on the sideline. And Vincent Gray, the redshirt freshman cornerback out of Rochester, Michigan, almost came up with a pick-6 type situation as he was just one-on-one on the left sideline. It sets up 2nd and 10. Maryland will probably try to run it and get some of that yardage back. Jackson in the shotgun. The running back to his right is Leak. Now it's going to be another play action. Jackson gets hit hard, and that ball is well overthrown. Had 2 receivers in the vicinity. Looked like Demas as well as potentially Darryl Jones down that sideline, but the throw high and incomplete, and getting plastered on that throw was Jackson. And now only 9 seconds have come off the clock on this drive. 14:51 to go in the third quarter at the very beginning of the second half, and just nothing right now. 3rd down and 10 from the 25-yard line for Jackson. And the Maryland offense. 3 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. He takes the snap, drops back, gets decent time, going to throw down the field, looking for Demas, and that one is broken up by Lavert Hill. Beautiful coverage. Ball a little underthrown, and that'll be a 3-and-out. 3 incompletions for Jackson, 4th and 10 from the 25.
As Demas had to go into defensive back mode there, break up the play, and maybe do a bit of holding against, against Lavert Hill right there, and break up and hold his other arm back so he couldn't intercept that one. And Jackson's passes have been so just labored and having to get the ball out there with the pressure he's faced that it has forced him to just be wildly inaccurate. On the second down pass, he's probably lucky that it was an inaccurate pass because he was throwing into triple coverage.
So now out for another punt is Pecorella. Michigan does not quite get to him, and Peoples-Jones backs up ready to take this punt at the 31. Tried to run to his right and then ran into a blocker. Now he'll cut back the other direction, go out of bounds at the 33, and a flag comes in late, probably in the vicinity of a hold on Michigan.
If you don't have just a ton of turf in front of you, don't run back punts because that's what happens. And now, granted, had Jones got to the outside there, he had a blocker who was unable to fend off the Maryland gunner, but if he got to the outside, he might have had some space to pick up full speed.
And they do announce a hold on the Wolverines. They say number 22, or sorry, 22, I think is what they put up on the board. That would be Jemin Green.
It was Sammy Faustin who couldn't pick up the block that Peoples-Jones was looking for to cut to his right and maybe explode down the field. So, once again, Maryland not doing the opposite of what they did in the first half, going on those long drives at 8F clock and flip field position even if they wouldn't score. 25-second drive, and that should not have flipped field position, but they end up getting that hole, and now Michigan's back at their own 22.
Yep, 14:35 to go in the third quarter. 21-0 Michigan on top as they start this drive. Patterson hands it off to Haskins, shakes one tackler. He'll try to cut outside, and he'll do well to pick up chunk yardage there. That's a 7-yard pickup. Ball was placed on the 22 after the hold on the punt return. He picks up 7 to the 29, sets up second down and 3. Haskins in that first half, 5 carries for 21 yards, pretty modest. Charbonnet, 5 carries for 12 yards, but Charbonnet was the one who got the 2 touchdowns. He's been the red zone back. Haskins carries it again, and he manages to crawl on his tippy toes after being hit, but he'll come up just a little bit short of the first down mark. You're running behind Jalen Mayfield, the right tackle, on these first 2 carries. Mayfield, a guy that was a commit to Minnesota and ended up flipping to Michigan after the Wolverines offered him back when Greg Fry was the offensive line coach for the Wolverines. The redshirt freshman starting at right tackle, and he's got a tight end, McCune, to his right. 2 tight ends in the formation. 3rd down and 1 Wolverines. Haskins takes the draw, and he will grind those legs forward, and looks like he got 2 for a first down. And coming running from the safety position, that looked like Nick Cross trying to signal that he did not get the first down, but it was pretty clear that the lines judge had signaled so. So a 2-yard pickup. They placed the ball on the 33. First down and 10. Michigan 21-0 Wolverines on top. 13:20 to go in the third quarter. Patterson claps his hands, takes the snap. Play action, Haskins in pass protection. Patterson's got all day to throw, and that ball not good. Well out in front of the receiver, Eubanks, who falls down hard and a little slow to get up. And Patterson, 7 for 11 in the first half, but just has not been very accurate today.
No, and his offensive line has given him all day to throw. This has been a very favorable situation for him. He's taking a lot of time not finding the most open guys, and when he does, he's not throwing the most accurate balls. Had a good throw to Eubanks to set up the missed Moody field goal, but all around, really rough day for Patterson, despite the fact he's 7 for 11.
So the incompletion makes it second down and 10. Maryland's trying to run substitutions off. They've got 2 guys, and now, they had 12 in formation. Couldn't quite get that second player off the field in time. Looked like they were trying to run, not sure if that was Shaq Smith. It was a single-digit number that they were trying to get off in a hurry, and the flag came out from the back judge, and now the referees are meeting about whether they officially lined up in formation or not. You always have the issues of formation versus in the huddle versus not, because sometimes, obviously, if you have too many men on the field, you don't get caught unless the ball is snapped. And they say no foul on the play.
Okay.
They said the defense was given an opportunity to match up. So second down and 10 officially after the incompletion to Eubanks from the 33-yard line. Patterson still out there with Haskins as the running back. That's been the case this whole series so far. Haskins to Patterson's left, 3 wide receivers and a tight end. And Haskins will take the carry, cut it back, and burrow into the pile at the 35 for a 2-yard pickup, 2nd and 8. Third down and 8 after the incompletion on first down.
And not a vintage Haskins carry there. We're used to about every time he gets it, within 2 or 3 yards of the line of scrimmage, he finds a guy to get low on, lower that shoulder, bust through, and then keep running. couldn't do so there. I think he'd rather run through a guy than just gallop into the second level untouched.
12:45 to go in the third quarter. Michigan facing 3rd down and 8 from their own 35-yard line. Patterson takes the snap. Maryland tries to blitz. He's going to throw into the flat, and that one tipped at the line of scrimmage. It will fall harmlessly incomplete at the feet of True Wilson. But again, on 3rd and 8, Patterson just looking to check down into the flat. I don't love that decision there.
No, not at all. I mean, the ball was tipped, but it didn't really change much at all in the long run there. If Wilson catches that ball, he gets maybe 3 yards on the play, and Michigan is still certainly punting. Good job by the Maryland defender getting his hands up. Couldn't catch exactly who it was on that left end, but ultimately, when you're not even tempting the line to gain on 3rd down, you're not going to keep the defense honest.
Well, Hart comes out to deliver his 4th punt of the game. He's been very sharp today, and this one another boomer, and it will land at the 12-yard line where it will be immediately fair caught by DJ Turner, and Will Hart has flipped field well today.
Yeah, and that is what he does. Not the best when it comes to pinning guys inside the 10 or the 5-yard line. Never really gets creative with it and kicks to the corner or anything like that. But when you want 50 yards, 55 yards, he will give it to you.
Yeah, almost automatic at those really high arcing kicks that flip the field. Scores around college football. Wake Forest still commanding lead over NC State 34-10 now at the half. Houston still up on UCF 23-21 at the half, and Eastern Michigan has just collapsed in the second quarter, giving up 27 to Buffalo. They trail the Bulls 29-7 at this point in time. Central Michigan 38-10 over NIU. They look to coast to bowl eligibility. Purdue 14-10 over Nebraska at the half. Boston College 44-20 over Syracuse. Texas A&M 28-7 over UTSA. FIU 9-7 over Old Dominion, and Liberty, oh boy, 49-14 over UMass.
And Liberty lost to Rutgers by what, 14 last week?
Yeah.
And that'll tell you everything you need to know about UMass. And they beat Akron.
Amazingly.
But Maryland, they got to play Nebraska here. Then
I mean, let's acknowledge the fact that UMass lost last week by 3 touchdowns to UConn.
Yeah, who got beat 56-10 last night. You and I were both looking for anything else to watch on the flight than that UMass or UConn Navy game. But boy, that Nebraska game, really the only other Big Ten game going on. Nebraska's average starting field position is about the Purdue 40, and they have 10 points to show for it. They have forced turnover to turnover and blocked and tipped punts, and they can't do anything to score. They have no running game right now, and Maryland might be able to get a 4th win and maybe have a prayer towards bowl eligibility. They're not going to be able to beat three of the 4 teams ahead of them, though. But
if Northwestern's offense is the astonishingly awful offense of the country, UMass's defense might be the astonishingly awful defense. They have not given up less than 29 in any one game this season. Points allowed for UMass: 48, 45, 52, 62, 29, 44, 69, 56. And that's, they gave up 29 to Akron.
Oh, that's the team. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, they beat them, though. Good for him.
They avoid the 0-12. Who was the last team to go winless?
Kansas did it not too long ago.
Yeah, like a couple years ago.
I'm sure someone else has done it more recently.
Well,
UConn was pretty close.
Yeah. Out of the timeout. Yeah, UMass, by the way, averaging 50.6 points per game given up on the season. Yikes. Jackson takes the snap for Maryland out of the timeout. Give to McFarland, and a great run up the middle. That is a 12-yard surge in the A-gap. And McFarland, who's been dealing with some ankle issues, didn't really show it there. He picks up 12 to the 24 and get out of the shadow of the goal line. First down for Maryland. They had 63 yards on the ground now in the game. Obviously, the sacks detracting from the overall total to get down to that 63. McFarland will take this handoff right away, and just nothing there. But a great job to keep the legs turning as he got met in the backfield, but he dragged Kalik Hudson from behind and pulled forward to the 29. That's a 5-yard pickup, 2nd and 5.
And it's going to be one of those Maryland drives. They come out and pass on the first play of the drive. They go nowhere. 3 and out every time, negative yardage usually. But when they come out rushing, they eat up clock. And they move the ball. They don't score, but they move the ball at least.
11:35 to go in the third quarter. Jackson takes the snap. Hands it off to McFarland, nicely weaving through Michigan tacklers, and he'll pick up 3 down to the 32-yard line. 3rd and 2 upcoming. Aiden Hutchinson gets run back onto the field. Interesting stat about Hutchinson. With that tip in the first half, he entered halftime with the most pass breakups of any player on Michigan this year.
More so than Lavert Hill.
Yep.
That is remarkable. But yeah, I mean, it's about every game. He gets his hands up there. 6'6", he is a nightmare for opposing QBs, especially ones on the shorter side of things. Josh Jackson, 6'2", that's about average for a college QB.
3rd down and 2. Split backs, and Jackson will give it off. And this one, did he get it? He's going to come up a little bit short. A great job to be met right away. Michael Dana got there, as well as Carlo Kemp, and they will hold the ball carrier Leak about a half-yard short. 4th and 1 from the Maryland 33, and the Terps trying to go hurry up. Michigan gets to it quickly, showing a sneak, but they did not get the snap off right away. Now the play clock ticks down towards 20 seconds as they had really gotten up to the line in a hurry. Still showing sneak, and Jackson continues to look over at the sideline. Mike Locksley standing next to the official. No signal for a timeout yet. Jackson under center. Has not gone under center much today. 5 seconds on the play clock, and now you got to think they're going to take the timeout. 3 seconds, 2-1, and now Locksley takes it. Did not get Michigan to jump, and now they have an important decision to make from their own 33-yard line, down 3 touchdowns. 10 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter.
I don't know if there was ever a real plan to snap that ball, but they really had their chance. But Michigan stays on top of it. That defensive line gets there and shows a nice skinny package right there, ready to stuff anything up the middle. But all credit to Mike Dana on that play. Gives the bear hug to McFarland and wrestles him down. That might be your answer to what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, because it looked like McFarland had a locomotive's momentum behind him, and Dana just absorbed that all into his body. Freezes McFarland just a foot in front of the first down line. And I think looks like Maryland is bringing out their...
That looks like the punt unit.
Okay, cool. Yep, there's 98.
Yep.
And I don't know. You still have a chance to win this game if everything goes your way. Don't give up a 21-0. There's 25 minutes of football to play.
Oh, and now they're doing the old swinging gate right here. And they bring all the blockers now from the left side of the field into the middle. The ball's placed down in the center of the field at the 33-yard line. 4th down and inches. They don't show a fake or anything. A really high snap, and Pecorella has to run up and boot this one. It's a big pop-up kick, not very far, and Peoples-Jones has to run up, weaving through Maryland bodies to catch it past the 40. I mean, that is not much field position change at all. That's like a 25-yard punt.
And punting is just not as big of a field changer as people think. You know, oftentimes coaches, when they decide whether or not to go for it, obviously if you go for it, success is picking it up. Failure is not picking it up. But punting, it's not just about how far you push them back. It's about, can you prevent them from getting back to the line of scrimmage on 4th down anyway? If you don't prevent them from getting back to that line of scrimmage, the punt didn't do anything. It didn't work.
Yeah. 27 yards officially as the ball is placed on the Michigan 40. Patterson out of the shotgun. Gets ready to drop back. Got plenty of time to throw. Fires across the field. Got it to complete to Peoples-Jones out of bounds at about the 47-yard line.
And another pass that he gets the nice 7 to 8 yard chunk, but could have had the first down. He had Jones right between 2 defenders. Could have had him pick it up and have a 1 safety to beat to maybe rip that off for a big gain. Ultimately, not a great pass, and Jones has to come back for it and not even get the first down.
Definitely wobbly with not a lot of oomph under it, and Charbonnet takes the carry, and he'll go past the 50-yard line into Maryland territory. That's a 4-yard pickup and a first down for the Wolverines.
And now Michigan is only about 11 yards away from that original line of scrimmage.
Yep.
And come on, coach, it's just, yeah. I know it's, you don't have to answer any tough questions in the press conference when you punt on your own side of the field, but we saw Wisconsin do that against Michigan on their very first drive, and that paid off huge dividends. And
now Michigan gives the handoff to Charbonnet, and he runs well. Pickup of 7 yards there, running between the guards and the centers. And he's able to plunge down to the 42-yard line, a pickup of 7. 2nd down and 3 on the way.
And both Charbonnet and Haskins, they run angry. They are just diving through tackles and just looking ready to go through guys when they run the ball.
Michigan continues to hurry up. This is a Patterson keeper. No, it's a Charbonnet run. And it's a very odd-looking play there. Charbonnet keeps the ball, and he'll rumble past the 40-yard line down to the 37. Pick up a 5 for first down.
Michigan really committed that because I believe Runyon pulled to go block for
Yeah.
Patterson on that play. I think that was truly an option. Runyon didn't know which way that was going, but very bizarre play. It worked, though. Got the first down.
Yeah, some major deception going on there. Patterson, 1st and 10 from the Maryland 37, takes the snap, ready to drop back to pass. He's going to fire, got it complete to Eubanks, behind him again, but this time the junior tight end able to hold on to that one down at the 31-yard line. Be 2nd and 4 from the 31.
And there you go. Michigan has effectively picked up all the yardage that Maryland saved, you can call it that, on the punt. So congrats, Mike Locksley. The punt accomplished nothing. And, maybe football's more fun when people go for it. Just think about that next time.
So Patterson brings the man Ronnie Bell in motion. Bell circling around behind, and they're going to swing it out to him in the flat. They've got some blockers over there. If he can shake a tackler, and he cannot. Hits the ground hard, and the ball came out, but he grabs it back anyway. It is a Michigan first down. Picks up 5 yards to the 25-yard line. And looked like Deion Jones brought him down there.
Yep, and if Ronnie Bell was able to juke Jones there, as we saw him have a phenomenal 3rd down pickup against Penn State where he looked like he juked the whole defensive backfield.
Yep.
If he had 2 good-looking blocks downfield, if he beats Jones, he might be gone for a touchdown on that one.
So 1st and 10 from the Maryland 25. Michigan already up 21-0 in this game, under 8 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, and the Wolverines on the prowl again. They'll run the exact same play. Bell's got blockers this time. Did not make a great cut, and he'll go down and just inside the 11-yard line. Looked like Deontay Banks on the tackle there. Deion Jones as well in the vicinity. That was 2-on-2 that time. Previously, on the preceding play, there had been 3 Maryland guys to 2 Michigan blockers. They had it lined up perfectly. I credit Maryland for pinching down, but they give up chunks on the exact same play on consecutive snaps for the Wolverines, and that sets up 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. Not quite a goal-to-go situation, but almost. Patterson throws, looking for the end zone. Got it complete. Did Black get the foot down? He did not. Out of bounds on a goal line fade. It'll bring up 2nd and 10.
And going back to that previous Bell play, the young true freshman, Mike St. Ristel, doesn't fully finish the process of his block. If he's able to keep pushing his man downfield, that's a touchdown for Ronnie Bell. But same play twice in a row. How does Maryland let that trick them twice? That is...
And Tariq Black, the foot just came down out of bounds. So 2nd down and 10 from the 11-yard line. Patterson in the shotgun with Haskins to his right. They've run a lot of passing plays in a row. They're going to run another one. Play action. This one tipped up into the air and incomplete. Looked like they had St. Ristel in the slot running a goal line slant, and it got tipped by somebody, and it falls incomplete. Antoine Brooks was on the coverage of St. Ristel.
And there you go. Antoine Brooks just all over the field. Hasn't made really any true big impact plays in this one, but he has kept a lid on this Michigan offense at many times here. Brings up 3rd and long now for the Wolverines. This is a tough place to move the ball.
Yeah, they got Nico Collins one-on-one on the left side of the field. We'll see if they go towards that way, and they are. It's going to be a jump ball looking for Collins. He gets pushed, and the flag comes out. That'll be pass interference. As Collins made the catch, but he was out of bounds in the end zone, and the flag immediately came out. All over him there was the cornerback Deontay Banks, and the referees are going to meet and presumably announce defensive pass interference. Yep. That one will go on Banks, the freshman from Edgewood, Maryland. At 6'1", doesn't have quite the height disadvantage that a lot of these Maryland corners would have against Collins, but still not much going there. The ball will be moved all the way up to the 2, and so from 3rd and 10 and the 11 now to 1st and goal from the 2 for Michigan, and if they get the touchdown here, you can put a fork in this one.
Hassan Haskins is the back, so he might finally get his touchdown. I think he's earned one so far today.
Patterson in the shotgun. They bring Peoples-Jones in motion. They do hand it off to Haskins. He dives towards the goal line, and he's a little bit short. A flag comes in. That might be a chop block. See, either that or a hold from where the referee was standing. Yeah, he signals towards Michigan. It is just going to be a standard hold.
Well, now Michigan's right back to where they started. They get a fresh set of downs at the very least, but it went from 3rd and 10 from the 12-yard line to 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line now. 1st and goal from the 12-yard line. So
yeah, so a little bit longer they need to get, but you're always playing for the goal line even if you're on 1st and 10 from the 11, that kind of situation. The foul goes on Mike Nwenu, the right guard, who's had a phenomenal senior season for the Wolverines. Patterson in the shotgun, Haskins to his left. He'll bring the jet sweep fake to Peoples-Jones, going to fling it out to the flat. There's Haskins, and he's met immediately and knocked down very, very quickly. Marcus Lewis comes down, delivers a big hit. Antoine Brooks also over there, as is Keandre Jones. They read that one perfectly. No gain on the play.
Nope, and Haskins has to be a little bit upset with his offensive coordinator there, leaving him out to dry to get flattened by Lewis. And
2nd and 12, under 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Michigan still needs the end zone on this goal-to-go situation. Patterson hands it off to Haskins. He's got blockers. He's down to the 5-yard line, and that's a nice job just to get a bunch of yardage they had lost on the hold back and set up 3rd and goal from the 5.
And that whole play, it looked like Haskins was just like Le'Veon Bell behind the line of scrimmage. He had so many blockers just moving the line of scrimmage downfield with him. He was just hesitating, looking for that gap. Ultimately never really found one to explode through, but he had his center and 2 guards a step ahead of him that whole run.
3rd down and 5. They've got Collins one-on-one on the left side of the field again. We'll see if they go that way. Maryland really stuffs the box, and Shea's going to try to keep it. Throws it to Eubanks, and he'll walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Michigan. 5:10 to go in the third quarter, and Eubanks left all alone in the flat. And Michigan now up 27-0 with the PAT coming.
And that looked like Shaq Smith, the grad transfer out of Clemson, originally from Baltimore, Maryland, got into Patterson's face, made it difficult for him, but Patterson found the giant Nick Eubanks target at 6'5", 256. Wasn't a great throw, but he made it pretty catchable for Eubanks, and he walked into the end zone from there for Michigan's first passing touchdown of the day. They got a rushing, 2 rushing, passing, and a special teams touchdown.
Now for the first time today, Quinn Nordine is out there, and he puts the extra point through. So Michigan's kicking competition continues, and it's 28-0 Wolverines, over 5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
And you can pull that milk carton ad and save a buck, as Nordine has been identified again. It's been a minute since he's played for the Wolverines. Hasn't been seen on the field for a while, but no longer missing. Quinn Nordine gets in and dots the I on that drive.
So Michigan just crushing Maryland right now, and you look at total yardage, 234 to 135. That doesn't seem indicative of a 28-0 beatdown, but Michigan's been very efficient in the red zone, and Maryland has been very much not.
No, 2 red zone drives for the Terrapins. Match just 3 for Michigan. They've had comparable numbers of long drives, but Michigan pushes it in because they have a passing game. They can actually trick Maryland and not let Maryland completely sell out for one play or another in the red zone. Had to go to 2 third and longs or 3rd and mediums on that drive to get it in, but ultimately they succeed, convert another red zone trip to a touchdown, while Maryland, the second they get inside the 15, the running game evaporates and they have to pass, and when they pass, things get ugly.
Yeah, it's been a rough day, to say the least, for Maryland, who trail now 28-0. And I mean, this has just been the story of Maryland's season these last few weeks. I mean, they had the close game against Indiana, but a 26-point loss to Purdue and a 42-point loss to Minnesota. That's where this one is headed. Depends on how aggressive Michigan remains as this game goes along. You have to think we will get into garbage time at some point in the fourth quarter. I mean, you look at the rest of Michigan's schedule, they don't have another game on the schedule that's an obvious mismatch like this one. If you want to get those freshman players out there one more time this season, this would be the game to do it, ideally.
Absolutely. It's going to get a lot harder from this point on. Michigan State, that's a big rivalry game. The team has kind of trailed off this year. I don't know. And, of course, you have Joe Bocci earlier this week getting busted for performance-enhancing drugs. He is suspended indefinitely by the Big Ten Conference, and that might soften up that Michigan State defense just a little bit. Nevertheless, the rivalry aspect of that game, you don't think you're going to see a whole lot of garbage time in that one. At Indiana is a dangerous game, and I know the Big Ten has 6 teams in the top 20, I believe, of the AP poll.
Yep.
But they're underrated. The Big Ten is being done a disservice by the AP poll. Only gave 4 points to the Hoosiers over the offseason, over this week. They're 23rd on SP+. They're 6-2. They are absolutely deserving of a top 25 spot. That team is tremendously underrated. Michigan will not be getting credit for a road win against a top 25 team if they win in Bloomington in 3 weeks' time.
Well, Indiana could climb into the poll.
They could. If Michigan does win, they deserve credit for a road top 25 win, because the Hoosiers are a top 25 team. Make no mistake about that.
Well, they're playing Northwestern here today, at 7 p.m. With Northwestern and Purdue still on the schedule, Indiana could easily get to 8 wins on the season. And now the kickoff is underway. Moody pops this one up, and it will land in the end zone for a touchback. So the Terps will take it from the 25-yard line as they'll try to get something going here in the second half.
We'll see. These second half drives have not been going nearly as well as their first half drives.
No, they have 2 drives for a combined 21 yards on 7 plays so far here in the second half.
Josh Jackson, the Ann Arbor native, 5 for 12 for 63 yards.
Yeah, not great.
No.
And 1 interception as well as several sacks taken. And technically a fumble for -6 yards out of bounds on a backwards lateral that went horribly wrong. They start from the 25 in the shotgun, running back to the left. That's Leak. And a quick screen pass complete just past the 30-yard line down to the 31. That's, a little chunk pickup perhaps, but nothing really more than that. And it will set up 2nd and 4. Carlos Carrier on the catch. They empty out the backfield. Just Jackson back there, but he is a running threat. Looks over to his tight end. That's Okonkwo offset the formation, the right side. Pressure starts to come along the right side. Gonna get hit, gonna go down. Another Michigan sack. That is Kalik Hudson that brings him down, as well as Carlo Kemp. And then Michael Dana was the 3rd guy there, but Michigan brings down Jackson. He loses 6 on that play. All that they gained on first down is given back, and now they have to pass again. 3rd down and 10 from the 25.
And when you say that phrase, now they have to pass again, Michigan has won, because that's going to go their way. Kalik Hudson, the season leader on tackles for the year, had 69 entering this game. It adds another one.
3rd and 10. Jackson under pressure again. He's going to try to step up, and he gets hit. And he will dive forward, so technically not a sack as he picks up 1 yard as he was trying to escape the pocket, but pocket collapsed in a hurry. Looked like Kwity Paye, Dana, Uche, everybody in on that one. And again, the tackles for Maryland just getting paved on the edges, and the pocket just keeps collapsing. Another 3 and out for the Terps. They're now at 135 total yards for the day, so we tick under 4 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter.
But technically a rushing yard does go Jackson's way, so Paye and Dana will have to save their sack dances for another day.
28-0 Michigan on top over Maryland. And Pecorella out there for another punt. Michigan shows like they're coming after it. Play clock's down to 2 seconds. They barely did get it off. They come to block it, and they get a piece of it as they just absolutely crush Anthony Pecorella. And that ball rolls down to the 38, but because they got a piece of it, that hard contact with the punter was completely legal. Michigan will have good field position at the 38-yard line.
And Devin Gill misplayed that. He had enough time to properly position himself, completely whiffs on the ball, and gets a little bit of it, keeping it legal, and just takes out the punter, Pecorella.
Yeah, Pecorella's slow to get up on that one.
He could have gotten all of that ball if he just aimed his body better. Instead, I think he had so much time, he kind of misplayed it with his hands, and then just barely got it with his arms rather than getting it with his body like he could have. That was a decent chance to do one of those plays where you see the guy just catch the punt and run it up standing in for a touchdown. Still, Michigan, they completely showed what they were going to do. That was well telegraphed. We saw Maryland. They made 3 or 4 pre-snap adjustments on that punt. Still couldn't pick it up, and they let a couple of guys come down that A or B gap just down the middle and get to that punt.
Yeah, that was some of the hardest contact you'll ever see to a punter. He got walloped. Do you ever remember the punter for the Lions, Casey Redfern, who got trucked in week 1 of 2017?
No, that doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, so Sam Martin, the Lions' normal punter, was hurt. So they got a backup punter, and it was his first ever NFL punt attempt. And he fumbled the snap, so he tried to run with it, and a defensive end just destroyed him. And it tore his ACL, and he was out for the year. And then for about a year, he was not on any NFL rosters, and so I was just in the back of my head wondering if he was going to finish his NFL career with 0 punt attempts in 1 game. And he ended up actually getting signed by some team this year, and he did 1 game this season. So he did finally get to punt, actually, in an NFL game.
Feel-good story. Long road to recovery, but he did get that punt in. Will Hart has had, I think, a pleasantly boring game. It's always interesting for a punter, right? like, you never want to be the star of the show because that means your team didn't do too hot. But
Yeah, an average of 51.7 today for Will Hart on his punts.
is that on 3 punts, I
Yeah.
take it then? I would have guessed 1 or 2, but with the number like 0.7, I guess you got to assume there's been 3 then to get that 2/3 number.
They're showing us highlights of the Wisconsin-Illinois game from a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, here in the Maryland press box, pretty good situation. They've got us our own booth. Most road stadiums don't have us situated in our own private booth, so that is nice. I got to thank the Maryland Athletic Department for that.
They had Chick-fil-A catered for lunch.
That was great as well.
Yeah, these last 2 road trips have been really nice.
What was the other one?
Penn State.
Oh yeah.
We got our own booth. We got a decent meal there.
Yeah, everything was phenomenal with the food there, except for the whiteout hot chocolate. That tasted like medicine, and it was.
I would not have drank that.
Yeah, I wanted to commit to drinking the whole thing, but after 4 sips, I was done. That
it's
was
like the Snow White apple. Like, it just don't even put it near you.
At least I consumed enough that I didn't get sick from it going afterwards. Just felt sick from the result of the game, maybe, but nothing that was more powerful than the feeling of disappointment. So that's all right.
A lot of the timeout, Michigan 28-0 lead over Maryland. 3:08 to go in the third quarter. Patterson stands in the shotgun, takes the snap. He's got a running back to his side and intended for McCune, I think.
Are you sure?
That is either very short, intended for Ronnie Bell, or way too high and way too far for Sean McCune. It kind of fell between 2 receivers over there to the right side. A really rough day for Patterson continues.
No, it's been a very easy day for him, at least in what he's been asked to do, but ultimately not getting much of it done, only connecting on good throws a few times today.
2nd and 10, and they will give the carry to True Wilson. He breaks through the hole. He's at the 50, 45-40, 35-30, 25, and he'll be knocked down at the 23, and you can hear the thundering True chants from this just horde of Michigan fans in the DMV area here at this game today. That is a run all the way down to the 23, a huge pickup for True Wilson.
Yep, and he just doesn't quite have the speed to outrun the safety there, but well played there by the safety for Maryland. Cuts off the corner and limits that to only a 50 or so yard gain.
And they'll give it right back to him. True Wilson, another nice cutback running behind Bredesen on the left side there. He spins forward close to the 17-yard line. That'll be a pickup of 6, 2nd and 4.
And it was Deion Jones who eventually brought down Wilson on that earlier run. Didn't get too aggressive, just knew where the blockers were going to force Wilson to go and waited in that gap, ultimately getting the tackle.
2nd down and 4 from the Maryland 17-yard line, and Patterson will give it to True Wilson again. Another cutback up as he thunders between where Ruiz and Nwenu are, and he comes very close to a first down. They don't quite give it to him. It'll be 3rd and inches. I mean, maybe 6 inches from now. They mark it back a little bit towards the 14. And Michigan continues to look at the sideline under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, and the PA trying to get the crowd fired up.
That's a bad idea.
28-0 Michigan on top. Patterson in the gun, Haskins to his right. He'll give it off to Haskins. He's got a hole. He's going to walk into the end zone. Touchdown, Michigan. With 91 seconds remaining in the third quarter, Wolverines tack on a second touchdown in this frame, and they lead 34-0 with the PAT on the way.
Deion Jones was once again the final level of defense. Not able to get to Haskins there, though, as he was untouched, I think, on that play. That is very un-Haskins-like. As I mentioned earlier, he always loves to lower that shoulder. And I think he was looking for it, but then there was just a giant gap, and he just speeds down the middle, too quick for Deion Jones to catch up. And he finally gets that touchdown on a well-deserved, phenomenal day for Hassan Haskins. Might be the offensive MVP 2 weeks in a row.
And Quinn Nordine comes out. He puts the extra point through. 35-0. Michigan on top, and Haskins, that's his 2nd rushing touchdown of the season. And now this is really getting into the territory of one of your favorite things in football, the multiple of 7-0 score.
Yeah. I do love it when you got a nice multiple of that 7-0 pair right there. It's just the cleanest score in football, you know. Maryland's been involved in a couple of these 79-0, 59-0 near misses. Penn State selfishly kicking 1 field goal. There's nothing that makes a scoreboard uglier than 1 field goal in the game that was otherwise all multiples of 7. Don't you just hate it when there's like a 28-10 game? Could have been 28-7. That's nice and clean. Finish your drives, folks.
So, no commercial timeout after that touchdown. Michigan already right out there to kick this one away. And again, 35-0 lead. I think the whole fourth quarter, you'd have to guess, would be backup time for Michigan.
I would think so. Patterson's not having a good day. Might as well just save his confidence and put in McCaffrey, who I think is he was the first to enter the game in the Notre Dame game. So I would think that's who you'd see next.
And Moody runs up. He pops this one up. This one will be returnable. Caught at about the 2 or the 3. Leak going to try to run it out. Gunners are there, but he cuts it back. A really good return. He's off to the races. He's going to go! 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. And for the second straight year, the Maryland Terrapins have a kickoff return touchdown against Michigan.
Well, and there you go. That is the announcer's jinx. We were talking it up whether Michigan was going to get that shutout, that perfect multiple-to-7 game. And well, we still got multiples of 7 unless we have a missed extra point here. But 2 return kickoffs in this game. I was getting ready my speech for, how moving the ball to the 25 makes kickoffs so pointless now on touchbacks. And Will Hart played that perfectly, popping it up long and high in the air, but not into the goal line, forcing Maryland to return it. But ultimately, they turned nothing into something. Touchdown, Terrapins.
And that extra point is good, 35-7. And the Terp fans finally have something to cheer about. The defense did not surrender that kick return, so at least for the defense, they're still pitching a shutout.
Yeah. And the kickoff game ends up being a clean slate in this one, 7-7 apiece. You can cancel those out. Michigan's offense still beating Maryland's offense by 28.
I'd like to know when the last time a game had 2 kickoff return touchdowns in one game. One for both teams.
I imagine that happens at least once every year in college football, but I could see it happening infrequently enough that you got every now and then you got a year that skips it.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty hard to.
In the NFL, it might be like 40 years since the last NFL game where that happened.
Yeah, it's so hard to return a kickoff for a touchdown in the NFL. By the way, the last team to go winless in college football was UTEP in 2017.
Okay, yeah, I remember they were.
Kansas and UCF both did it in 2015.
Huh, UCF, interesting.
Yeah. Before a certain coach came in and rescued UCF's program. Georgia State and Miami of Ohio went winless in 2013. Southern Miss did it in 2012.
Well, can Giles Jackson return the favor? It was a one-cut kickoff return last time.
And Maryland this is only their second kickoff of the entire game. The first one was run back. We'll see what they do about this one. That one goes towards the sideline. Going to take a weird hop. Giles Jackson's going to return it. Here he comes at the 15 to the 20, still on his feet, 25, and he falls down at the 29. Still a productive return for Michigan.
I believed for a second there. I thought he might have had it, although he still should not have ran that one out. Gets ahead of the 25, but he could have had that ball at the 40 had he just let that one go out of bounds. That was a very deliberate kickoff right there by Maryland to let it skip at around the 8-yard line, make it more difficult to return, and then it nearly went out of bounds. Would have if Giles Jackson just let it go out. But I don't think Michigan's going to cry over field position, as Dylan McCaffrey has entered the game.
Yep, McCaffrey into the game. St. Bristol, Collins, and Peoples-Jones. So still the top wide receivers, and it's still the top offensive line out there for Michigan. So McCaffrey's the only change right now. He takes the snap, and it was a high one. Hands it off to True Wilson, and he's going to lose 2 yards on that one. Brought down at the 27, 2nd and 12 upcoming.
And you have to think that McCaffrey will be given the keys to this offense. It will be a great off-season recruiting battle. I can't wait to see the 20 Twitter threads a day going off on who looked better in practice between him and Milton. But if McCaffrey is going to be given the keys to this offense, you got to give him as many tools to succeed as you can during this season first.
Pistol formation. McCaffrey takes the snap, and he will do a play-action fake. Got plenty of time to throw down the field, looking in the vicinity of Nico Collins, overthrew him, and incomplete.
Well, there's good news and bad news. Good news, it was a really pretty ball. Nice tight spiral. Bad news, it was about 8 yards ahead of the receiver.
Yeah. Well, and it's been a little cluttered in the backfield thus far. The first snap a little high. It looked like just odd communication there between McCaffrey and True Wilson. That's the kind of thing you need to iron out. And the bells sound, and they're trying to get the fans to get loud for a potential 3 and out. 4 wide receivers and a running back to McCaffrey's right. That looks like Haskins. Now it's still True Wilson in pass protection. Gives a good block to McCaffrey. Now he dumps it off. True Wilson's going to try to scramble over the middle, and he'll be brought down very close to the first down at the 38-yard line. That'll set up 4th down and 1. Interesting decision upcoming for Jim Harbaugh, and they are going to send the punt team out there.
Yeah, in a 35-7 lead, you probably have to do that. Although, I mean, I think your win probability goes up if you go for this. It's 1 yard. Their offense can't do anything. They're not going to even get this playoff before the end of the quarter, but...
Yep, and the end of the quarter, well, it was exactly this kind of thing. It was a 4th down and 1 from right around this point in the field where Michigan faked the punt the first time. But if you fake a second punt up 4 touchdowns, that might start a riot on the field.
Well, it's kind of about... It's just a little bit about, showing off at this point. Michigan, they're in a tough pickle. Dropping that game to Penn State that was an ever so tight one. Probably when you think they win in Ann Arbor. Don't see them going down 21-0 at home. And they're in a completely different situation. Not only are they competing for the playoff and to win the Big Ten, but they have a good shot at getting that Rose Bowl bid. That would be huge for this program to get a Rose Bowl under their belt. Instead, they probably have to beat Ohio State. They need to beat Ohio State, Penn State to lose to Minnesota and Ohio State decisively, I think, to get that Rose Bowl invitation.
Yeah.
And then Minnesota still will probably get it then anyway, I think. If Minnesota loses to Iowa, it's too much. You're asking for a lot.
Yeah, Michigan would have to be 10-2. Minnesota would have to be probably.
If they give Ohio State a tight game in Indy, you think an 11-1. I think an 11-1 team gets the Rose Bowl invite instead. If they got blown out, then 11-2. If they got blown out, then an 11-2 Minnesota team. But a 12-1 Minnesota team that lost to Ohio State, they get the Rose Bowl. So Michigan probably not getting the Rose Bowl. That Cotton Bowl bid is up for grabs. Maybe there's still probably a Sugar Bowl. No, not Sugar Bowl, but Orange Bowl at-large bid that's up there. They're ahead of Notre Dame, I think, for sure. So that'll help. But
Baylor is a predicament.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched too much of Baylor football, honestly, because I expected nothing from them to start the year.
Well, they haven't played anybody.
No, they did not impress me at home against West Virginia on Halloween night.
By the way, the win probability for Michigan is 99.9. So.
Well, we also said Michigan was going to get that nice multiple of 7-0 game. Ultimately, that didn't come true. Michigan failed. So the defense could get their second shot out of the year still. That's very much in play, but the team not going to get their second shot out of the year. It's been a while since Harbaugh's blanked 2 teams in the same season. Purdue leads Nebraska 17-13 in the only other Big Ten score update. That's a fierce one to get bowl eligible.
Yeah.
Purdue probably is out of it anyway. They could win for sure 3 of their last 4 games, but at Wisconsin is a very tough sell.
Total yardage in this game, Michigan 304, Maryland 136. First downs 14-8 in favor of the Wolverines. Both teams have a special teams touchdown. Only 1 turnover in this game. It was an interception that the Wolverines took away from Maryland. Possession 24 minutes, Terps 21 minutes, Wolverines. 9 total penalties, 5 for Maryland, 4 for Michigan. It's been pretty even in those regards. And now coming out of the timeout, Michigan's punt team still on the field. Will Hart in punt formation. They've got Michael Barrett right there in the exact same spot he was when they direct snapped it the first time.
And they've got McCurry. Is that on the far end zone, lined up like a wide receiver, a yard off? It looks like they're trying to make him eligible as a receiver. He's lined a yard off the line of scrimmage.
He's got the room if they wanted to try it. Now he comes in motion. They are just going to snap it to Will Hart. Maryland does not come after him at all. And just another line drive bullet that will land inside the 15. And Will Hart continues to flip the field. That'll go down, I believe, as a 47-yard punt. Continues to have a very stellar day. Maryland will take over at their own 15. 6 ticks under the 15 minutes remaining in the game.
And that should keep his average above the 50 mark. So another strong day for Will Hart. If he could just add the sideline, coffin corner type strategy to his punting game, he might be an NFL punter. But
yeah, right now he's just a cannon.
Yeah, that's about it. Sort of the Joe Milton of punters. Maybe not to touch on it just yet, but
So Maryland comes out. They've still got Jackson in the game. He takes the snap, play action fake. Pressure starts to come right in his face. He gets hard hit by Uche, and that throw way out in front of Dante Demas, trying to desperately plead for a holding, and that was not coming Vincent Gray in coverage.
And that was a rare sight, though. The Michigan defense getting kind of burnt up top by Demas, who finally was able to break through. Gets by Vincent Gray. Looks like Lavert Hill's still on the far side. No Dax Hill yet. Ambry Thomas not in the game right now, it looks like. But Demas did get by Gray, ultimately, though, to no effect as he was way overthrown.
And the snap immediately taken. They hand it off, and this is a nice run for Anthony McFarland. He gets the first down and more. Dragged down close to the 30-yard line. That's almost a 15-yard pickup for McFarland. And Maryland been doing a lot of throwing now, down 4 touchdowns, but a really nice carry for the running back.
And this is so impressive the way he bounced off McGrone there, who almost never misses a tackle, but makes a really nice stiff arm to keep going and extends this drive for the Terrapins.
And the snap taken by Jackson. Pressure comes right in his face from Kalik Hudson. He throws that one away. Again, interesting, the defensive tackles right now, Carlo Kemp and Chris Hinton. We continue to see more and more of the 5-star freshman Hinton. And he trots off the field as they bring Uche back on 2nd and 10. And again, this is Maryland behind the sticks.
And how many games has Hinton played? I think this is number 3 is what I want to say.
Yeah, that would be a good guess.
And you would think he probably won't get involved in the next games, but I don't know. He's also probably a guy who won't be around for a full 4 years.
2nd and 10, and they give it off to McFarland and met right in the backfield. Cam McGrone there immediately. That'll be a loss of 3 on the play. 3rd and 13 upcoming.
And avenges that stiff arm from a couple plays ago.
Yeah.
Giving McFarland no chance to accelerate. He was caught the second he got that handoff.
So now 3rd down and 12 at the 28-yard line. Jordan Glasgow goes off the field. And Jackson ready to take the snap. 3 wide receivers and a tight end, as well as Leak to his right. And pressure comes right up the middle immediately. Quiddy Pay in Jackson's face has to throw it at the feet of Javon Leak. And so they get 1 first down and then have to punt. Overall, they get 14 yards on that drive. Total for the game, 149. 35-7 Michigan on top. 13:42 to go in the contest.
It is interesting that we're seeing some Hinton. Early in the year, there was a lot of question marks at the defensive tackle position. I think Dwumfor and Kemp have pretty much locked it down at this point anyway, but Hinton, I don't think you really have to fret over whether or not he gets the red shirt.
Oh boy, Pecorella shanks that punt. I'm not sure if that was even a 10-yard punt.
Wow, and that was not close to getting blocked. That just came off his foot terribly, and I think that's...
The lines judge is marking it the 35. That would be a 7-yard punt.
I believe that's Spangler. That was number 99. Yep,
okay,
that was Spangler who shanked that one. So maybe an answer there in the punting competition. You'd hope Pecorella's all right. He got drilled by Devin Gill earlier in this game.
Let's see where they place the ball. Now, the referee is walking up. He's going to be a lot more generous and put it down at the 43. That would be about a 16-yard punt. Still not good.
I mean, that one I think landed on the ground ahead of the 50, and that was about 10 yards out of bounds. So it flew out well before that.
Yeah, and it just came off the foot, popped it right up.
Well, I honestly haven't scouted. I didn't scout the punting competition going into this game in my pregame preparation, but I think I can tell you who's won the punting competition at this point.
Yeah, not great day for Colton Spangler. That was his 2nd punt of the day. Pecorella's done the rest. Again, it's so hard to discern these guys because they look very similar and they have almost identical numbers of 99 and 98. Does not make it easy on the spotters here at the football stadium.
Not at all, but I don't know, maybe that's what goes on in the mind of Mike Locksley, if there's any kind of edge to be gained by...
Just put different numbers on them and then switch them back and forth.
Never know which punter you're getting when they wear what are nearly identical numbers.
We have another commercial timeout, 13:37 to go in the game. Our score, Michigan 35, Maryland 7.
How would you grade John Hoke today, the older brother of Brady, maybe trying to avenge his former Wolverine head coach brother?
I don't think this has been a terrible game for the Maryland defense in any way.
I mean, they haven't had to do too much. Their defense has stayed off the field and been fresh, so maybe grade them on a bit different of a curve than you usually would against a much more talented Michigan offense. But
I mean, Michigan hasn't really had the level of blowouts that they used to have at the start of the Harbaugh era in recent years. Last 2 seasons, especially when you think about that Rutgers game last season, Michigan really took the foot off the gas. That one finished, I think, was it 49-7, as opposed to 78-0 just only a few years earlier.
yeah, that was a long day in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Going to that when we were out on the photo deck, so that was pretty cold. But yeah, not exactly the blowout that maybe I've been thinking of the whole 10-hour car ride. This one is about 35. The way Maryland has shortened the game, they've been able to keep it a more respectable 35-7 score.
Yeah. So Dylan McCaffrey comes back out there for Michigan. He replaced Patterson in the last drive. It was a 3-and-out for the Wolverines. He's still out there with True Wilson, Eric All, the main tight end, St. Ristel, and Tariq Black, the wide receivers. McCune out there as well. McCaffrey play action rolls to his right. He's going to throw down the field looking for McCune. Tight window, not able to fit it in.
As Christian Turner has just slid down this depth chart, he is not getting any minutes even as we enter the fourth quarter here. After that one bad carry, that might have really just buried his Michigan career. Who knows what he'll do next, but
yeah, just one carry today for -5 yards. 2nd and 10 from the 43-yard line. McCaffrey wants the ball. He's going to fire over the middle, and that one off the hands of St. Ristel looked like a decent throw, and St. Ristel was open, but
that was I think
clicking right now.
St. Ristel had enough separation from the defensive back. He just looked downfield trying to see how far he could go, and it just happens every time. You take your eye off the ball, get too excited about the yards after the catch, and you don't even get any because he didn't even make the catch. That was a good ball there from McCaffrey. Definitely his best of the day. Nothing looking too good so far, but
his passes have looked fine. It's just the windows have been tight and just not clicking at the moment. 3rd down and 10 from the 43. Michigan not trying to waste that great field position. Going to fire over the middle. Got it complete to Tariq Black. He dives close to the first down. I think he got it, and he did. A 10-yard pickup and a Michigan first down to the 33.
And good to see Black involved in this one. He's had some injury issues here. His first real full healthy season, but just kind of stuck behind Collins, Bell, and DPJ on this depth chart, though. I expect a big year from him next year, though, assuming he comes back to Ann Arbor. He still does have the talent to get drafted. But I believe that's his first reception of the day, even. Second, that'll go down as. So 2 for 16 yards.
So McCaffrey is given a fresh set of downs under 13 minutes to go in the game. In the shotgun formation with True Wilson to his left, and he will hand it off to True Wilson. Surges forward to the 24-yard line. That's a solid 4-yard pickup, and he'll set up 2nd and 6.
So Michigan kind of slowing things down here after giving.
Yeah, very content to run a lot of time off the play clock.
As Big Ten score update, Nebraska just had a 2-yard rushing touchdown from Martinez, who was their leading rusher, Adrian Martinez. So 19-17 Huskers lead, extra point pending.
Eric All still on the field as the tight end for most of this drive. McCune is out there as well. No sign of Eubanks. Is kind of his role as the starting tight end not needed right now. Cornelius Johnson also on the field on the right side. McCaffrey's going to try to keep it himself. Made a decent read and then scampers forward, dives to the 24. He'll come up, I think, 1 yard short. It'll be 3rd and 1.
I don't like design QB runs when you're winning by 28 in the fourth quarter. I mean, Michigan, they ended McCaffrey's season last year by breaking his collarbone in a late season game in garbage time. I know he's got the speed, but, use that when he's a starter.
McCaffrey obviously concussed earlier this season in that nasty hit against Wisconsin when he was inserted into the game after Michigan had fallen down by such a steep margin. 3rd down and 1. Got a running back, and that is Hassan Haskins to his right, I think.
That is.
Looks like his number, yeah. And they will hand it off to Haskins. He cuts forward, and it looks like he got just enough for the first down. Not pretty, but I think he got it, and they'll move the chains. 11:13 to go in the fourth quarter. Yep, move the sticks. And the clock starts rolling yet again. 11 minutes to go. McCaffrey looks over at those, normally the play cards. Instead, they've just kind of got a board that shows a number, almost looks like a time. It says 4 o'clock. Then you've got 3 block M sticks and 1 board that just has an F circled.
Definitely looks like a failed to paper mark right there.
10:45 to go in the game. 35-7 Michigan on top. McCaffrey takes the snap, and he'll hand it off again to Haskins. And again, you just see nice burst from Haskins right off the handoff. He picks up a solid 4-yard chunk there. 2nd and 6, DeAndre Jones on the tackle.
So Michigan just taking it nice and easy for the time being. 10-20, 10-19. We're not going to get this one over in under 3 hours, which is just a treasure when you can get that in college football.
Yeah.
Bands marching at halftime and everything really drag these games out, but
Yeah.
going to be a pretty quick, nice, easy business here for Michigan, who's going to leave College Park with a W.
Yep, just salting this game away right now. Man comes in motion across the formation. It's Peoples-Jones. McCaffrey will keep it himself, trying to find some blockers, bounces off a tackler, and actually will lose a yard to the 20. And that'll set up 3rd down and 7. Look like Antoine Brooks, yet another tackle for him.
He has been one of the highlights on this Maryland defense that can be really soft at times. They've struggled to stop the run. They've actually been all right. I mean, they've kind of contained the run better than Notre Dame did last week. So
Yeah.
credit to them.
So
They're probably going to, they might hold Michigan to less than 45.
pistol with McCaffrey ready to take the snap. Now he motions Haskins from behind him to his right. 3 wide receivers. Play action with Haskins. Plenty of time for McCaffrey, and that throw almost intercepted. Threw it into traffic. A really strange read there as McCune was blanketed by potential DBs there, and so instead it falls incomplete. Out comes the field goal unit.
And Quinn Nordine is going to be the kicker for this one, so Jake Moody may be in the doghouse right now with Harbaugh, but...
And it'll basically be the same distance as the miss.
Ooh, great natural experiment right here.
Yeah, and they're kicking towards the same end zone as well.
I think this is going to be 1 yard shorter.
Yeah, and the snap out, hold is good, the kick is up. That looks good from our angle, and it is through.
Got it,
so.
yep. Up along the right upright. That was a booming one. I mean, that one would have been good and with the angle, too, it took. I think you could have marched that ball 20 yards backward for a 57-yarder, and that might have been good. He loves to kick those high. That one was booming and stayed just inside for the right upright. Good kick, and now the score got kind of ugly, 38-7. Just not as clean as those multiple of 7 games.
Yep, 38-7 Michigan on top. 9:04 to go in this game. Another commercial timeout break. Boston College continues to beat down Syracuse 58-27. Liberty now up 63-21 on UMass. Again, UMass defense giving up more than 50 points per game, and that's going to go up even higher after this one. In the MAC, Bowling Green 7-6 over Akron.
That is not going to stay that close for that long. Bowling Green is not a very good team
very
this
bad
year,
too, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Aren't they the closest team to Akron and SP Plus in the MAC?
Let me look.
We talk MACtion here at WCBN. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of any conference.
The best action is MACtion.
Apparently, Drew Brees is at this Nebraska
Purdue game.
Saints have their bye week this week, so why not? You think that'd be like the Magic? I don't know, and that's not what a Horcrux is, but I'm trying to think of what the Lucky Charm, we'll call it, for Purdue football.
Yeah. I mean, certainly that year that was their Juice Williams year, except the quarterback actually went on to do great things at the next level. But it's like when Pat Fitzgerald was a player and Northwestern made the Rose Bowl. Every Big Ten school that isn't a powerhouse has that 1 year where they were the darling in the spotlight, except for Rutgers.
Maryland yet to have their calling as a Big Ten team. I suppose Nebraska's in the same boat too.
Well, Nebraska's kind of different because they take football more seriously.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, it's not like the teams that Purdue's a basketball school. Not the team that accidentally goes out and has a great football year, but big things ahead of them. Jeff Brom, who I think is worth every cent they're paying him, but boy, are they paying him a lot. I believe $6 million. He made the USA Today's list of top 10 highest paid college coaches, and whenever you got a coach on that list, you're going to want more than – I think they'll get more than 2 wins on the year, but they're not going to go bowling this year. A 3 or 4 win season is just not worth $5 million.
By the way, Bowling Green is 127 in S&P Plus.
Oh,
so that matchup is 127 versus 128.
How'd they win 2 games? That must be FCS teams.
Because UTEP actually is worse than Akron in SP Plus.
And then there probably is an FCS win in there. Yeah. MAC has not been so strong in the group of 5.
Yeah, to say the least. But they did get one team into a New Year's Six game once upon a time. And the kickoff by Jake Moody is going to land in sort of the corner, just right at the goal line. Fair catch signaled. And so Maryland will get it at the 25. Bowling Green's 2 wins are against Toledo and Morgan State.
Okay, so Morgan State's FCS, so.
I don't know how they beat Toledo.
No, yeah.
Toledo's going to go bowling. They're 5-3.
Really? Wow.
Shame on Toledo for losing that game. I mean, that's kind of how Illinois feels about losing to Eastern Michigan.
Oh, it's not going to cost them to go bowling. I think they will beat both Northwestern and Rutgers to seal the deal. But I mean, what a experience there for Lovie Smith after all those years, finally getting that program rolling.
So out onto the field is the Maryland offense. Jackson takes the snap. Pressure starts to come right in his face. Throws, got it complete just past the 30 and dragged down at the 33. A nice dart delivery there and a solid 8-yard pickup will set up 2nd and short. Completion to Brian Cobbs there.
And Maryland has not waved the white flag at all yet. They still have their A-team personnel out there.
Well, you might as well get him experience against a top-tier defense, especially with Ohio State next on the schedule. Jackson will give the handoff and plunging forward just enough for the first down there. Tayon Fleet Davis picks up the first down.
Getting far fewer carries than we anticipated coming into this one.
Yeah.
I mean, hard to argue with the success Leak and McFarland had early on. But since that second red zone trip that also wound up empty-handed, they have really had nothing doing on offense.
Dax Hill now out there playing slot corner right now. 1st and 10, Maryland from the 37. Now up to 161 total yards of offense in this game. Snap taken. Jackson's going to throw. Got it complete in the slot. Burning past Daxton Hill, and a nice completion there to Brian Cobbs again into Michigan territory. That will pick up close to 20 yards on that completion. It'll be 1st and 10 Maryland from the Michigan 46. Clock continuing to run under 8 minutes to go in the game. Jackson takes the snap, hands it off to Tayon Fleet Davis. He's going to try to turn around the edge. Carlo Kemp drags him down from behind, but not before he can pick up 6 yards. Bring up 2nd and 4 at the 40.
So Maryland having some success here. It's still the Michigan A team too. I mean, Dax Hill has been in and out of the starters. I think no Levert Hill. That might be the one difference.
2nd down and 4 for Maryland. Justin Jackson claps his hands a couple times. Now he'll get ready to sling it into the flat, looking for Cobbs. Ambry Thomas got off his block very well, and Cobbs reached the ball out. Comes up a little bit short. It'll bring up 3rd down and 1. The clock had stopped initially. Now it starts running again as he did not quite get that first down.
Cobbs gets his 8th reception on the year, only about 1 a game for one of their leading receivers, just because they do not spread the ball out well.
And that run is going to go nowhere, but trying to get the edge. Did he get it? Oh, boy. Yeah, he did. Got the 1 yard. It looked like nothing was happening. Michigan had tacklers in the backfield, and Fleet Davis was just able to turn the corner and weasel past the 31-yard line. They placed the ball exactly on the 31. Under 7 minutes to go in the game. Maryland clawing tooth and nail for that first down. And now, I think, is Harbaugh going to challenge this? We have a timeout coming from that side of the field, unless it was an official buzz from the replay booth.
Well, that certainly means he won't get out of here in 3 hours if Harbaugh challenges, but why not? Why not try to preserve the shutout for your defense? Got to entertain all these Michigan fans who probably didn't really travel all that far for it, because there's a lot of alumni in that DMV area, but I'm sure some came all the way out from Michigan. Might as well entertain them for their troubles.
And now the referees are talking to Harbaugh, and they still haven't told us anything
No, yeah.
Both teams were huddled getting water.
The sticks have been moved, so it'd be pretty hard to measure it at this point.
Unless Maryland took that timeout. It looked like the whistle came from the Michigan side, but I suppose that could be a possibility. Now they start running the clock, so I don't know what that was for. 6:30 to go in the game. Jackson sets up 1st and 10 from the 36-yard line. Man comes in motion. Now drops back, ready to throw. Hudson comes right off the edge and gets a piece of it. Tips it off his hands and incomplete.
And then does the required little off my fingers dance. Not sure exactly how to describe it, but I know you know what I'm talking about. Everyone listening, don't need to actually show it on camera to explain it.
The tip signal from the referee.
Yeah, that's the same thing. So
it's not the discount double check. That's a different thing. Josh Jackson still out there as the Maryland quarterback. Takes the snap from his center, Jordan, and hands it off, weaving through men and falling down just past the 35. Maybe a pickup of 2 for Fleet Davis, and that'll set up 3rd and long. Again, this is the situation Maryland does not want to be in, and if Michigan can get a stop here, they get that much closer to preserving the defensive shutout. The 7 points for Maryland in this game coming off a kickoff return touchdown. Jackson stands in the shotgun, 3 wide receivers. Still got a tight end off the formation. Pressure starts to come again. He's going to get hit, and Hutchinson drops him for a sack, and that kills the drive. We'll see if Maryland goes for it on 4th down, trailing by 31 points.
It's going to be 4th and 16. That is a long way to go, but why not? Josh Jackson trots off the field, though, so looks like Maryland has truly waved the white flag. 4th and 16 is a real tight one to pick up, though, anyway.
Yep, and they send out the punting unit. This one looks like Spangler. He shanked his last punt, stands from his own 42-yard line. Michigan 38-7 over Maryland. Exactly 5 minutes to go in the contest. Spangler boots this one away. Another wobbly kick. It will bounce at the 10. Peoples-Jones picks it up at the 6. He's just going to try to tightrope the sideline, but he stepped out very quickly at the 8.
If he were a tightrope walker,
he would be dead.
Yeah. he was sprinting upfield full speed, and he had both feet out of bounds. It was not convincing at all, but he still tried to just run full steam ahead. These punts, I can understand why they're having this punting competition. They haven't really been really deep at all, not given Peoples-Jones really any opportunities to flex his muscles in the punting return game, but 4:52 to go now. I think we'll see another McCaffrey drive. Might be Milton time, though. Patterson has his helmet off in the huddle, just encouraging his teammates. A long way to go. We'll see if Michigan tries to come out swinging and get to that 45 mark 2 weeks in a row.
Well, when we talk about the defense, Michigan has just continued to be dominant defensively, really ever since they got exposed by Wisconsin. The defense has just been really impressive. You know, you go back to that game against Rutgers, obviously not a high-profile opponent, but that was really the start of things. Rutgers got 152 in total yardage in that contest. Michigan has not allowed more than 300 yards in a game since the Wisconsin contest, holding Penn State to 283. That was the highest. Then you look at Iowa the very next weekend, and Michigan was able to do it again in terms of holding teams. They held Iowa to 261. Then you look at Illinois, same thing, and it's just been the defense clicking on all cylinders right now.
Sure have been. They got that shutout going. I think they're going to get it at this point, although it's the last 4-5 minutes in a blowout game are unpredictable. Does suck that the scoreboard won't be so nice and clean with a comfortable 0 on the Terrapin side or the Michigan side. It's always nice. I like those zeros on the board. 38-7, Michigan with a 31-point margin of victory. They were heavy favorites, and they will impress anyone, I think, with this scoreline. Not the 59-0 trouncing maybe that Penn State delivered, but all things considered, those games not too terribly different. Just a couple of different plays going slightly differently. And Penn State being the explosive big play offense that they are, they have shorter drives and therefore more drives, even if they score at about the same clip.
Yep. Still out there is McCaffrey, and Christian Turner out there with him. McCaffrey in the pistol formation has looked a little out of sync with his receivers his first 2 possessions, and they'll start it on the ground with Christian Turner trying to bounce outside, and he is going to be hit hard immediately. That might have been a face mask. No flag comes in, but he's going to lose 5 on that carry for 2 carries for negative 10 yards today for Christian Turner. Yikes.
As I think Brandon Gattis got to him in the backfield, and yeah, that is not a recipe to get back on the field. You know, in sports, it's always so big to keep your starting position, because once you lose it, it just gets so hard to win it back. Christian Turner on the outside looking in the Michigan running back room, and he has 2 guys his age or younger way ahead of him on the depth chart.
And so now they place the ball officially on the 4, so only a loss of 4. McCaffrey in the shotgun, and he will give it off to Turner, and he tries to push forward close to the original line of scrimmage, and that'll set up 3rd down and long. The Michigan first-team offensive line continues to be out there. Really the only backup we've seen come into this game is McCaffrey, and I guess you could count Cornelius Johnson too, although he played intermittently at different points. St. Ristel going off the field. Giles Jackson is on in his place. 3:33 to go in the game. This one just mercifully limping along. Michigan 38-7 over Maryland. McCaffrey ready to take the snap. They'll bring Giles Jackson across the formation, and they'll do it a jump pass to him, and he runs off the formation down to the 11, and not much there. The clock ticks to 3 minutes remaining, and Purdue is just taking the lead over Nebraska.
Yep, that is a big one for maybe determining the futures of the Big Ten West. Right now, the Big Ten West is basically the tightest recruiting-wise. 6 of 7 teams are all within that 26 to 33 range for the 2020 recruiting class, with Purdue having the highest of them all. So that's where that Jeff Brom money is going toward, a pretty solid recruiting class by Purdue standards. That jump pass right there, ineffective. Michigan, they love to bring guys in motion, and of course that can give you some hints about what the defense has drawn up, but not very convincing for a fake when they never ever actually give it to him, except for right there.
Will Hart booms that punt away, and it will be fair caught at the 43-yard line. Another really nice punt for him. That goes down as a 46, 47-yarder from the initial line of scrimmage. And so the clock stops with 2:23 to go in the 4th quarter. Can Michigan's defense preserve their shutout? Obviously 7 points on the board from the special teams. That's really the only intrigue left in this one. You know, it's felt like over the last several seasons, the Michigan-Maryland games are the most forgettable games of the season for Michigan, and I don't think that's going to change here today.
No, that is the unfortunate distinction there. You know, running back the opening kickoff, though, that always will leave a mark.
Yeah.
Definitely one of the more remarkable plays, I think, in recent Super Bowl history was the opening kickoff touchdown return the Bears had way back in 2006, 7.
Yeah.
No, we were very young when that happened.
That's a very generous use of recent history.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm 21 now. Maybe not everything that I can remember is recent history, I suppose. But, you know, even though the Bears lost what was ultimately kind of a clunker of a Super Bowl, as the much better team just kind of slowly and inevitably recaptured that lead and got up to that multiple score lead. Michigan was kind of obviously always going to win this one, but they at least started off fast with the kickoff return touchdown, the very quick 3-and-out and very ugly 3-and-out for the Maryland offense. Quick score, Michigan's up 14-0, and then you could go home, go outside, and take a walk, do some errands for your weekend, because that was about all we needed to see in this one. 2:23. Will Michigan's defense maintain sturdy and keep that shutout?
Well, they're showing the upcoming events. Michigan and Maryland soccer will play this weekend, tomorrow actually. Volleyball against Minnesota the next weekend.
Yeah, Big Ten tournament quarterfinals between Michigan and Maryland coming up in women's soccer. Could be some good basketball games between these teams down the stretch too. Jalen Smith returning for Maryland, the 5-star. Could have gone pro last year. Maryland definitely overall a pretty solid addition to the Big Ten Conference athletically, but football is not where they carry their weight.
Yeah.
Although they do actually really produce in a lot of sports, though maybe a bit unlike Rutgers.
So, out of the timeout, 2:23 to go. This one will clock in at just over 3 hours, but still a beauty of a short game in this atmosphere here today in College Park. And we are underway, and different quarterback out there for Maryland. Is that handoff taken for only 3 yards? Trying to see who that is out there. It's number 4 for Maryland.
And we'll
Lance Legendre. And the handoff taken, rushing outside and out of bounds at close to the 46 of Michigan. That's a nice run, pickup of about 11 yards on that run.
And he was not really anywhere on the depth chart. The true freshman from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Yep, Lance Legendre.
No, in our scouting, I think we had him as the fifth-string quarterback.
Yeah.
Pigram's injured, so that gives him one spot.
Jackson, Dessou, Bortenschlager, and then Legendre. So Mike Locksley diving into the depths of the depth chart with this one. Legendre drops back, ready to pass, and he's just going to take off and run with it. And he jukes around Jordan Anthony over the middle of that. Michigan linebacking core is they've started to substitute more second-string players. Yeah, Jess Spate is out there and Luigi Villain as well. Trying to see who else is out there. That looks like
Devin Gill, I believe.
Yeah, Villain's out there. Sammy Foston is out there, and this is a Michigan second-team defense that has struggled, to say the least, this season, giving up touchdowns in garbage time to both Notre Dame and Middle Tennessee State. And Legendre is going to run it again. He's at the 20, and he falls down at the 16-yard line. They're just picking up yards in chunks now. And can the Michigan defense hold this one together in terms of a total defensive shutout?
It's a race against the clock right now that Legendre is winning.
Yeah. Well, and he's dropping back to pass and then just immediately running, and Michigan not holding the middle of the field well at all. Legendre drops back, going to try to throw a jump ball. Hard contact down in that sideline. No flags come in. That looked like Jalen Kelly Powell in coverage. Sammy Foston playing safety there over top.
And that really surprised me. I thought for sure that was going to get flagged. Probably what, I mean, I think that was offensive pass interference. Not, of course, it'll change the direction of this game, but that might help Michigan keep the shutout intact, as it looks like, in my mind, Powell did force the receiver to the ground.
2nd and 10 at the 16, and Legendre takes the snap, going to throw it out into a bubble screen on the sideline. Running down the sideline is Tayon Fleet Davis. He'll go out of bounds at about the 9-yard line. So here we go. Goal line stand situation for Michigan to try to preserve the defensive shutout. An even 60 seconds left on the clock.
So the clock is probably not a factor. Maryland has 2 timeouts if they want to use them. Penn State, of course, called a timeout last year with little time left to try to get back on the scoreboard successfully.
Yep, and that run up the middle by Tayon Fleet Davis gets maybe 2 yards, and now that'll set up 4th down and 1 from the 8-yard line.
So here we go. This might be the shutout.
Yep, 50 seconds to go. 38-7, Michigan on top. The only touchdown coming on a kickoff return touchdown. Can the Michigan Wolverines defense slam the door and complete their half of the clean performance? 33 seconds left in the game. Legendre in the pistol, Fleet Davis behind him, and he will give it off to Tayon Fleet Davis. He rumbles forward just inside the 5. Clock stops to reset the chains. 23 seconds remaining. Jordan Anthony on the tackle. As soon as they put the ball down, the clock will start running. Locksley has 2 timeouts if he wants to use them. That would be very annoying if he did. 18 seconds left. This might be their last shot if it's not an incompletion. Legendre in the shotgun. 10 seconds left in the game. He takes the snap, going to run out to the right side, and he's going to be met immediately and brought down for just nothing there. 3 seconds, 2-1, and that'll do it. This game is history. The final tackle made by Hunter Reynolds, and the coach is now going out there to shake hands as fireworks going off.
I think that was a cannon way off in the very west side of the field. I can't tell what exactly they have there, but yeah, that's a guy loading up a cannon, doing like, I forget the word for that thing with the long stick you shove in the cannon to get it loaded. So I guess win or lose, they still do that, as Maryland is stuffed at the last moment and cannot break the deadlock. 0 points offensively for the Terrapins as Michigan rolls through another weaker Big Ten opponent.
Yep, 38-7 win. Michigan advances to 7-2 on the year. Maryland falls to 3-6. Wolverines have already been bowl eligible for a week, but they continue to pad in that regard. Now they have a well-timed bye week before the second biggest game of the season against Michigan State.
This is the #1 Big Ten off week. Only 8 teams in action, so 6 teams have a bye week this week for the Big Ten. 4 Big Ten games in total. Nebraska just took the lead, 27-24. 4:21 to go in that one. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw another lead change.
Yep.
As Adrian Martinez has 2 rushing touchdowns on the day, 0 passing. All around, weird game there. 2 other Big Ten games later, I believe Indiana Northwestern.
Yeah, this is a pretty clean win for Michigan today. Did not look great offensively, but they got enough to get it done. Special teams a little all over the place, the good and the bad. And the defense dominant as expected against a hobbling Maryland offense. And so that's pretty much it for us. Any last thoughts?
No, Patterson did not have a great game. Didn't do amazing against Notre Dame either. Maybe a bit better in his accuracy and reads, but didn't have to do anything. I think really the only reason why this game was closer was just the time of possession and tempo. Maryland just chewed up clock, ultimately didn't do anything with those possessions, but that I think really is the only reason why you might have a little bit less exciting scoreboard here in College Park. Maryland just a very, very slow tempo team.
Well, that just about does it for us. Michigan final score over Maryland 38-7 here from Capital One Field at Maryland Stadium. For Daniel Thompson, Alex Drain, we are signing off from College Park, Maryland. Final score, Michigan 38, Maryland 7. Good night and go blue.